Yeah, we are here today doing the chest because because is our monkey here today? There's a certain little monkey with a birthday. Woo! So he suggested that everybody but Chuck strip naked today as his gift. I said, well, we could at least maybe do chesties, full chesties. We even got bling. So happy birthday, monkey. I told him we'd think of something creative to do for the birthdays. I haven't checked the news. We're also going to tell cop stories. I haven't checked the news. So let's see what's... Ooh, they're fixing to seize Trump's assets. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. By the time he gets through all this legal process, I don't know what's going to be left of him to even vote for. That's why I don't think he was a good ballot choice from the start.
Well, they're going to send the order. We'll see if they actually seize the assets. That's the sort of thing has happened a lot. Like they're like, yeah, we like the judge orders that, then it goes to another judge and they overrule it.
The U.S. is backing a ceasefire in Gaza. I don't know the details on that. So that's the news. What's going on?
Greetings, Chuck.
Try that again. Greeting. Oh, to you. Okay, yeah. Greetings. It's Frank's birthday today.
But he just said, "Here's your like," and then he took off. I guess I don't know.
Oh, he is there. Okay.
So Moose, so you're almost to Texas. Are you out there? Are you listening? Because if you are, tell me when you get to what part of Texas. I mean, Texas is huge, so it takes like a day to get halfway through Texas. So I mean, it's not like you're going to be in
that
Dallas.
Drive from El Paso to San Antonio, if he's going down the 10, that's like the longest.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
Monotonous drive I've ever made.
Hey, Lip.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
How y'all doing? Sorry, I'm a little late. We had an electrician in here today, so
I
had to be the one. Yeah, we just had some issues with our breakers. Hopefully, it's fixed now.
Did he leave? Hopefully so.
Oh yeah. He's gone now. He had to come in and just replace the breakers. He thinks that the breakers are just like really sensitive, and that like when the computers would kick on, like especially.
Well, stop hurting your feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be so mean to the breakers. You're
Yeah.
You're going up to them being like, "You fucking breakers, I fucking hate you," and like they get all sensitive, man. Like you gotta back down.
Yeah. Well, all of our computers have little fan motors, and apparently with fan motors, when they kick on, a lot of times they'll draw like a lot more power than they need initially to kick on, and so the breakers are interpreting that as like an arc break.
Damn, how many computers y'all running in there? You have a troll farm going?
I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're mining crypto?
I just got they have four people, 4 computers.
You have to get an electrician out to fix your breakers because you have so many computer fans in that.
Well, he did say the breakers in there were pretty old. So
you're running like gaming desktops though, right? That's what you're talking about. Yeah. So gaming desktops, totally. I mean,
are you all turning them on at the same time? Like, is that
no?
They just run all the time. They roll the time. The fans kick on. The fans kick on. And then you should switch. You should switch to liquid cooling, but
I mean, that's expensive. So
it's not that expensive. I mean, you can get a decent one on Amazon, a decent liquid cooling set for like $100. I mean, if you, I mean, I know it's expensive, I guess, but
well, decent is a bit of a relative word. I mean, I'd probably be fine getting a liquid cooling system, but like with my girlfriend, like she has, I mean, her computer's like $2,500.
You wouldn't buy her a liquid cooling?
Oh, I mean, I'd buy her one, but I don't know if I need my machine's only like $1,100 or $1,200, so I'm not as like I don't think I as much need a liquid cooling. I mean, yeah, that's.
I'd send you my old one, but I don't know if it works. I think I might have killed it whenever I killed it.
Quit sending people stuff.
Well, it's just sitting in a box. I'm not
Yeah,
using
well-
it. It's literally sitting in a box collecting dust. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Alright.
you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it works though. So I don't think I wouldn't send it to you because I don't think it works. So
Yeah.
I think I shorted it out whenever I shorted out the rest of the computer because like
If any-
it shorted out the motherboard, the hard drives, everything. So
If anyone wants some extra RAM, I've got how
Ooh, I
much is
love a good
this?
RAM.
16 gigs. 16 gigs of RAM. Oh God, I just got your.
That was a good Paul McCartney album too. I think it was one of his best.
I don't listen to Paul McCartney.
oh my.
So cop stories. Anybody have any good ones? I had one yesterday that I forgot to tell. And that's why.
Oh, please
Then
tell.
you
me.
And then, oh, this is what started. I was thinking, feeling like you're getting murdered by the cops. That's intense. Like, what kind of experiences would you have had to have? And then I started going through my own experiences. And I said, have you had an experience where you felt like you came very close to getting murdered by a cop? And then I remembered I do have a story.
Mm.
And then I was thinking about that one. I thought of another story about the same time. And then the more I started thinking, I'm like, I could do a whole series on just my cop, just my cop stories alone. And so I thought I'd make today about cop stories.
All right, that sounds good. Well, let's start with yours. I mean, I told mine yesterday, so
They happened around the same time. And one thing we loved to do for fun was get the hotel rooms and do the hotel parties with the alcohol and the loud music and all that. And so both of these cop stories revolve around those times. I'm going to tell the other story first, and then the story I wanted to tell after. Probably 18, 19, just doing the hotel thing. There were probably 20 of us drinking. I don't know what our ages were because it was right around that high school transition to college age. So there could have been underage. Who knows? And my friend had this big boom box that he was playing this loud rap music on, and he would take it out in the parking lot and try to dance to it. And some of the hotel guests kept calling the cops. So the first time the cops show up, it's two or three of them. What's going on? Keep it down. We're just going to give you a warning this time. They left. Half an hour later, they come back. They got called again, and they're really irritated this time. And they're complaining about loud music and noise and everything. So they said if it happens again, somebody's going downtown. They're not messing around anymore. So they go on their way. And my friend goes out in the parking lot again with the boom box and tries to do the same thing. So they get called a third time. And this time they're pissed. So this time it's like 3 or 4 of them. And so they have us in the hotel room. It's like 20 of us. And I'm sitting on the bed, the furthest bed, like nearest the restroom. And we're all kind of just crowded around. They come in and they're like, all right, that's it. We're checking IDs. And whoever doesn't have their ID is going downtown. And I'm thinking, well, we are downtown. The hotel was downtown. I didn't understand. But my friend, and I was the only one without an ID because I didn't even start driving until I was like in my 20s. And so I raised my hand and I was the only hand that went up. And so the cops all start looking at me. And my friend that answered the door, she's a very fast thinker. And she said to the cop, she says, "Oh, officer, it's okay. He's autistic. Have you seen Rain Man?" And the cop looks over at me. He's like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, ma'am. Yeah, I can tell. It's okay. It's okay. We won't worry about it." So the whole time they were there, I had to like sit on that bed and act goofy and smile and keep my hand raised. And it worked because they left us alone and nobody went to jail. I was the only one without the ID. And we were laughing about it like we had outsmarted the cops by faking autism. But I didn't like none of us knew that it was a real, like we were not faking. It was a real thing. When the cops said, "Oh yeah, I can tell," they were picking up on something. Like I wasn't consciously doing anything to make them think I was autistic,
Look, I bet
So
you
that was
that
a
cop was autistic too. That's
The
how
what?
he knew. That cop was autistic. That's
Or
how
he,
he's like,
he maybe had an autistic kid. Maybe he may have an autistic
And
Sure,
this
kid.
maybe,
was
yeah.
about the time that Rain Man had come out. That's how I can date it. And so
Oh,
she said,
okay.
"Have you seen Rain Man?" Then he looks at me. He's like, "Oh yeah, I could tell. Okay, we won't worry about him." And it got me out of going to jail. So it worked. Faking autism, except it's not fake.
It's not fake yet, but you're not Rain Man autistic though. It's a little different, but yeah.
Depends on who you ask.
Well, you don't. Yeah. Rain Man is a pretty. I've
Hey,
met a ton of autistic people. I've never met anybody who was actually as
Rain Man autistic.
autistic as
I've
Rain
met a
Man. Like,
few, like savant types, and
yeah.
in fact, I've met some in Mensa and the gifted circles. Sometimes the savants.
I'm not saying they don't
end up
exist.
there.
I've just never met them. I just always took Dustin Hoffman's performance as being a bit of a caricature. That's all.
I would say it's more like an edge case, or definitely an outlier of an outlier.
It's one of those performances that won an Oscar for Best Actor or
I
something
like
like that.
the movie. I didn't know anything about autism at the time, and I
Yeah.
had no clue.
Oh, it's a
that,
good movie. It's a good movie.
People
Don't
like
get me
me
wrong.
could be considered autistic. Mine is technically PDD-NOS, pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. But now it's all autism spectrum. That's one of the diagnoses that got rolled into autism. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. It's Frank's birthday, so this is in honor of Frank. This is how the links we go to for birthdays.
And Leah, you only think that unless I stood up or if I sit back too much. Trust me. Like as long as I'm sitting forward, it looks fine. But as long as you can't see further down, it looks fine. But but I unbuttoned it further because at the request. So
hey, hang on, don't shit on yourself, because remember what's the it's Lizzo song, I like big boys, itty bitty boys.
Oh yeah, body
Yeah.
positive. Here,
Yeah,
which
body
is
positivity here.
Yeah, we're also that. Yeah,
Well,
beautiful. Well, I'm a
that's fine.
satanist. I'll be.
I'm not making fun of anybody else, but I feel I grew up. I grew up a lot fatter than I am now. Okay, I was always real chubby. So
Oh, you were bigger.
Oh yeah, I used to be pretty fat.
Because when you tell your stories of like growing up Gen X and bands and records, I picture you like this little skinny Gen X kid, like all the rest of us.
I mean, maybe for a short period of time, I was skinnier than I was at other points, but I was pretty chubby for most of my childhood. And before I got that surgery that they told me I had to get, I was really, I had gotten up for 350 pounds. I could show you pictures, but I don't want to.
No, I didn't.
It looks like, you know how like if when my beard gets really gets fluffy, you know, but it was
Did it feel liberating?
It wasn't a beard.
Did you have pride in that, and did you feel positive about yourself?
No, I did
liberating,
not.
Like that was celebrating who you really are.
What's even worse is that you don't even realize how fat you were until you see the contrast. You see what you look like now versus then. You're like, oh my God, I was fat. Oh shit. Dear God. I was huge. I was a big boy. I'm only like I'm back down to like 195, 200 right now. But I was at like 175 for a long time, but I gained like 20 pounds in COVID. So
you're like 5'10", 5'11" though, right?
5'11", yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were taller.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even
when you're out and about, you look tall.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 5'11" and a half, so I'm just under 6 foot. I mean, it's just barely, but you know.
Same. I'm like, almost 6 foot, but not quite. But yeah, no, about 200 pounds for males, male adults is actually at about 6 foot. It's pretty normal weight.
Yeah. I look better at 175. I look better at about 175, but still, it's not a big deal. I'm not like ashamed of my, but still, I don't think anybody else wants to see my gut.
Oh, Leah's 5'3".
Oh, damn, it's short. that's pretty short. I was gonna say, my sister's pretty short, and she's like 5'5".
Lindsay's like 5'4". 5'5.5". Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm so bad at judging height through these.
Yeah, and me too. Me too. And growing up, like all of my friends, like I always thought of myself. I always thought of myself as pretty short, though. because I always like whatever my best friend was at the time was always like about 6 inches to 8 inches taller than me. They were always like hanging around really tall guys, right? Um, yeah, 200 pounds is overweight for 6 foot. I know. That's what I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm healthier at 175, but I was at 175 for a long time, but I gained weight during COVID, and the vertigo has kept me from being active. I can't exercise, so I can exercise only like when like doing like sitting exercise and stuff like that, and I hate that kind of stuff. Like I used to play like Beat Saber and Synth Riders and stuff with the VR headset, and I got in really good shape doing that. I was like in really good shape, and I was really good at the game too. And but I can't play it anymore, so I lost my main source of exercise.
I've dated a few short guys, and they did both have a complex about it that I didn't understand, because I didn't care. I don't even see height, and so for me it wasn't an issue at all. But for them, they did have a complex dating somebody being their size and dating somebody 6'3".
I don't know why. Like I don't know. I've never heard of like most girls don't have like much insecurity about being short. Like I mean, it seems like it's almost like
Maybe it's a guy thing.
Like yeah,
But-
because it seems like in
But she's saying she has.
yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. Like I think I'm surprised because like it seems like most girls I've known are more or less pretty okay with being short, because like it seems like pop culture really like almost it makes girls that are tall seem like it makes tall girls seem like that's
Leah
the weird thing,
is
you know.
chatting from Chris's channel. It looks like he's streaming
Oh, really?
his channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's why people on my channel won't be able to see her unless you're on StreamYard. Then you see all. Yeah, that's
I mean, I think like being short or liking short women is a pretty, I think, common stereotype, at least here in the West.
Oh. Leah, I started your video that you did. Was it yesterday? Just talking about live streaming in the Panelverse. Man, you really hit a lot of stuff. Like
I haven't seen that one yet. I
it's
watched
in
your
fact,
Leah's
I'm
videos,
gonna
though.
post it if she doesn't mind. It's a great video.
I watched your Leah's videos.
I
and
really
I really liked her. I really like the stuff she's been putting out. Like I really do. I respect your ability to do the like the video essay things. Like I keep wanting to make video essays, but I just don't have I just haven't had the concentration for it. Oh, Sarah, you're 5'3". Yeah, so you and Leah both the same height. It's funny.
Yeah.
I can't find it now. Is it?
I also watched some of Leah's stuff. Actually, I really liked her trans video. Even though there are parts of it that I disagreed with, but I think it was a very measured take, which is pretty cool. Appreciate
it. And here, Josh. I mean, yeah. Here, Jeff. Here's the
let
the
me
watch
see.
looks like.
Oh, he was telling me about this Satan watch. Let's see. Why? Wait. Okay, I'm confused. Why is the watch face covered up with bands? Where do you see the time? I do love it though. What color is it? Black?
It's black. Yeah, it's like a shiny black.
Can you turn it all the way around? Like see the other side?
What? Yeah, yeah. When you push the button, when the time comes up. I'm trying to get this.
Is
focus.
that lit up or is it?
Yeah, that's lit up.
Fuck.
So can you see where it says hour and minute there at the top?
Yeah.
So you push the button and that reveals the time.
Oh my
and
God.
So like it's not, and I don't know how to set it.
Is it like 1, 2?
Yeah, it's set as it says. Well, I could. It's set to 2. It's 2:30 something, but it's set close to the right time, but it's not really quite, because like over here it's got minutes in terms of like it's got minutes in terms of like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 up to 50, and then it starts going 1, 2, 3, 4. So and like
those are pentagrams and occult symbols around.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to get to focus. If it'll just focus, you'd see it pretty clearly. Come on now. This camera usually is pretty good with focusing pretty up close, but
maybe it has like a spell on it or something to.
Here, you see it. You can see it now. You see the pentagrams on it.
Thanks, Frank. Happy birthday.
Y'all gonna do something as fun on my birthday? My birthday's coming up in like a week and change.
Hey, Ragnar.
Okay,
oh, good.
Whatever you want.
Are you
whatever
finally
you
show us your boobs?
I mean,
Oh, we
you
have to
know,
do something for you. Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it's
like
my
being
birthday.
willing to see your boobs would be a nice birthday present. I'm just kidding.
No, you're good.
no, I don't know whatever you want to do, man. Just like let us know. Like just give us.
Yeah, we want to try to. We're thinking about doing monthly birthdays, so we're like workshopping what to do for birthdays. So
Well, my
this will
birthday
help
is
us.
April Fool's Day, so
Is it really?
It's
Are
really
you
April
being
Fool's. I'm
completely serious?
100% serious.
You were born on April 1st.
I was
and we're
born on
just
April
now
1st.
hearing about this.
Yeah, and
my birthday is April 13th. So.
And my dad was born on Valentine's Day, and my mom was born on Halloween.
Does that mean y'all are both Aries? No wonder we fight so much.
Yeah, we're both Aries. We are.
Okay.
I'm April 13th. So
always Aries season.
Fiery.
I was born on Friday 13th. So
plaid undies. Unfortunately, the best you'll get, Frank, is I've got some plaid boxers.
That'll probably work for him. Like beggars can't really be choosers around here.
Yeah. Frank can't really be choosing too much.
Sorry.
No, I mean Frank's slumming and he knows it. He takes what he can get.
He's like all those guys on Tinder, you know, like they're just like desperately trying.
Yeah, they had him at the bars too. At the,
God.
What did we even had a name for?
Well, hey, Leah, Sarah, why don't you come on the panel for Frank's birthday? Because at least, even though you don't have to show your boobs or anything, but just so that there's the fact there will be boobs present in
there
the
are
channel.
Boobs present. How dare? How?
In fact, both of you.
I need to stick up for my trans friend here and call you out on your.
You can't see him at all. You can't see him at all.
I'm so embarrassed to be friends with you in public.
I can't. All I see is the 3 arrows. All I see is the evil corp symbol with the rainbow capitalism thing on it. That's all I see. See, I got my Mr. Robot hat with my Mr. Robot hat that I actually I replaced the robot from Mr. Robot. I replaced it with the robot from Get Up Kids, like Something to Write Home About album cover. So if you don't know who that is, then you're not as cool as me. That's fine.
That's fine. Many of us aren't as
can
cool.
reach your level of cool.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know Get Up Kids, Lib?
No.
Yeah,
you don't.
I was.
Look up Get Up Kids. Look up the song.
There we go. Leah's got it right.
Holiday.
The mystery.
Mystery.
Alluring.
He talks nonstop about himself. What's the mystery?
You don't know what I look like, though.
Oh,
that's
the looking like. Okay,
yeah.
I guess I'm
all
not
we know
visual.
is that at this point, the way you describe yourself, all I can imagine is a Sasquatch. So.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah. Actually, that was one of my nicknames in middle school.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to actually insult you. I was just like,
no.
I mean, how hairy you are.
It's not an insult.
Hey,
It's like
Lindsay,
I'm just really hairy. Like that was just common. It was honestly, it wasn't my favorite nickname. My favorite one was Birdman.
Wow. From the movie?
Well, the rapper, first off, but also it had to do. Basically, I went to a really small school, and in my class of like 19 people, or in my grade of 19 people rather, there were 2 people who shared my name. 2 other people who shared my name. So to differentiate us, it was like, all right, one of them went by the first name, the other one went by the last name, and then they had to come up with a nickname for me. So Birdman was it.
How does Birdman get to be the nickname?
It has to do. It has to. I mean, not a child. I was in high school.
Oh, high school. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, one of my teachers, he would like whenever he would pass by me, he'd be like, "Oh, here's Birdman," and he would do a flapping wings thing. Oh God, I love that guy. He was my English teacher too. That was a great guy.
Have you ever seen the YouTuber any stuff of the YouTuber Thor High Heels?
Who? You cut out.
Oh, have you ever seen anything? Have you ever seen anything from the YouTuber Thor High Heels?
Thor High Heels? No.
Yeah.
I'm so interested by just that name.
Yeah, check him out. Check him out. Like he what the way he actually looks on camera. He doesn't go on camera very often, but on some of his videos he does. He just the way he describes himself is like kind of like the way you describe. I mean, the way he looks is kind of how the way you describe yourself. So he's like I think he's kind of I don't know if he's trans, but he's definitely like non-binary,
What's his name?
Thor high heel.
high heels.
He's a video game YouTuber that makes
Thor
he's really
high heels.
yeah, he's really funny. He's
These names
really
are
funny.
so
I
dumb.
think he's great. He's from the Netherlands, and like, but he has like he like does his like hair up in like weird pigtails
How
and
do you
has like
spell?
and
Can
has
you
like
put a link of his picture? I'm just getting
yeah.
pictures of high heel shoes.
I'm trying to do that right now, but like for some reason my computer's going so freaking slow. It's not working very well.
I see his YouTube channel.
Well, there you go. I don't know his picture though. I don't know if I could just find a picture of
I'll
him.
try to find. I just want to give our audience a visual.
I'm trying to pull the link up right now, but my computer is just running so slow. Here it is. Okay.
Yeah, he's from the Netherlands, probably trans.
I don't think he's trans from the way he talks, but he doesn't really talk much about his personal life. He mostly just talks about games. But he's really really funny. He's got a great sense of humor, and he actually makes his own music and stuff like that. And it's really, he does a lot of like a synthwave type stuff, and he has a really cool like aesthetic to all of his videos. He has a very distinctive style to the videos he makes, and I really appreciate his stuff. But he's also he's this really he's very very hairy, but he's also kind of like he also paints his nails and like puts on makeup and stuff like that. Like it's kind of weird. It's kind of CJ the X-ish kind of CJ the X all kind of along the same lines.
Well, CJ the X is trans, so
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Is he really?
I'm just saying, but
what is he? Wait, are you talking about like male to female? He's trans. I don't think I would call him trans. He's male, like he's
yes.
he's male.
CJ the X is indeed male, but I think they use
he's an effeminate male or androgynous. I don't consider it trans.
Sure,
Androgyny is
I think he's more
androgynous.
androgynous, but I've never heard him speak about being
I don't.
trans.
I'm burning out on trans. I almost don't even care about it anymore.
Finster came out as trans.
Identify what you want. You win. I'm just not getting involved in it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I feel like we're all just people, and the labels really just don't matter. I mean, I don't care if people are gay. I don't care if people are trans. I never have though. I mean, it's never mattered to me. Like I know you I know people by their name, not by their category and their designation. That's my main complaint against trans ideology or whatever, whatever the thing is. That's the main complaint I have about gay pride parades and stuff like that. It's just like, haven't we just got to the point where we can just accept that everyone is just people and like it doesn't really matter what your sexuality is to me? Like it doesn't matter
We're talking
unless
about
like
cop stories today. You're right. It's not going to go on very long because we're talking about cop stories. In fact, I'm going to tell my second cop story. So fast forward a year or so to another hotel, another group of teenagers. Well, not teenagers. I guess we're 19, 20-ish. Young adults drinking in hotels. Me being one of those young adults, and me doing it a lot that night, and getting the blood alcohol content very high, without realizing it. You know what it was? I just remembered. It was Thunderbird wine from the convenience store. That was the first time I had tried Thunderbird. My friends had some, and it was the Thunderbird. And so we were all in the room, and there was a guy there named Johnny that had stepped outside to have a cigarette or something, and he wasn't in the hotel room. And so everybody was looking for him. They're like, "Where's Johnny? Where's Johnny?" They said, "Jeff, go outside and try to find Johnny." And I can barely see, I can barely walk, and so I'm going out. It's like more of like a motel. This was on the ground level, like the parking lot level, and I walk out into the parking lot, and I start screaming at the top of my lungs, "Johnny, Johnny, where are you, Johnny?" Trying to get him to come. And next thing I know, I don't know how much time had elapsed, but next thing I know, there is a cop in my face, screaming at me. He's he looks like he's from the rougher side of town. He doesn't look like clean cut, well dressed cop. And he's like, "You got a problem, boy? You're out here yelling and disrupting. Boy, I ought to kick your ass. I ought to beat your ass." Right? I'm thinking, oh my God, this cop is like, why does he want to beat me up? And I was still drunk, of course. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, officer. I was looking for Johnny. I didn't mean to yell. I was looking for Johnny." And he's like, "Well, what you're going to do is you're going to get your shit and you're going to get in that car." I didn't drive at the time, so it was a friend's car. "And you're going to take your ass home and you're never going to come back here again." And I'm like, okay. I almost crying, and they got me in the car. I got a friend to put me in his car, and he was going to take me home. And home for me was like the town away from where the city was, so it was quite a drive, and I was not going to be back anytime that night if I ended up home. So we're on our way driving home, and I'm trying to brainstorm. I'm drunk, and I don't want to go home. All my friends are at the hotel. Like, this was my whole plans for the weekend, and I don't want them ruined on a Friday. And I came up with this, I don't know how, idea to call. We had a little hamburger restaurant near the college where we all met called Mrs. Burger. And the lady that worked there was so cool. She was like our mom away from home. And we called, her name was Betty. And so the burger restaurant was called Mrs. Burger. So we called her Betty Burger. And that's just what like she answered to, and we got to know her ass. So it's like 2 a.m. and I'm thinking, stop at this. This was the days of payphone, y'all. There was no cell phone, anything. I'm like, stop at this gas station. I'm going to use the payphone and I'm going to call Betty Burger. I don't know why I thought of that or how I even knew her phone number, although I was a walking telephone directory at that time. So I used the payphone. I call Miss Betty. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, "Miss Betty, I was at a hotel. The cop," and she's like, "Calm down, baby." She says, "What's the cop's name?" And I gave him the name because I remember seeing it on his badge. And she says, "Oh, I think I know him. I'll give him a call and I'll call you right back. Stay where you are by the payphone." And so I waited, and eventually the payphone rang, and it was Miss Betty. And she's like, "Honey, I talked to the cop and he said you can go back, but you have to be quiet. You have to stay indoors, and it's okay. I got it cleared for you." And so we went back to the hotel and continued our partying. I don't know how I got out of that one. The epilogue to the story, and the whole reason for me telling in the first place, 2 weeks later, the cop was on the news. He got arrested and kicked off the force. He was off duty at a bar and got in a bar fight and pulled his gun out on somebody and got disciplined and arrested for it. And I'm like, man, that's the level of temper of this cop that was yelling in my face. Like, I didn't know it at the time, but that's how dangerous this cop was and how narrowly like my encounter with him was. And thank God for Betty Burger. Absolutely. So those are my I could tell more cop stories, but those are the two I'm gonna offer to get us started.
Yeah,
Leah, come up and tell your cop story.
I think
No, I've had some great encounters with cops too. I dated.
Yeah, I've had some really good ones too.
yeah.
Here in Irving.
Actually, I have 2 cop stories I can tell. One that's good and one that's bad. I'll start with the good one, which is I was driving in Arkansas, and I was lost. I was like in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like I had like my phone service was like barely working, so like I couldn't use my maps. I was like, just
how old were you?
I was like
what time of your life is this?
19.
Oh, okay. What were you doing
19.
in Arkansas?
I went to school in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and at that time, I can't even remember where I was that I got lost. Oh, I was going to visit my girlfriend in Arkansas at the time, but the road that I normally took was closed due to construction. Like it was completely shut off. So I had
You
to take
talking
a
about
different
car
route.
or you were walking?
A car. I was driving from Memphis into Arkansas. And so I was like desperately trying to use my phone to work and get me out of there. And cop pulls me over and he's like, "Hey, so I saw you were on your phone. You know, and I was like, officer, I'm lost. I have no idea where I am. Like, I don't know how to get out of here. And he was like, okay, well, you know, just letting you know, if another cop sees you, they're going to ticket you if they see that you're on your phone. He's like, but, you know, if you want to get here, here's what you need to do. And he directed me out. He was actually like really chill. But like as he was coming up, he was like, he didn't have like the full on cop uniform. He had like the sleeveless shirts and like the vest. But he had like a military tattoo on, like I can't remember what it was. It was very clearly though he was like in the military, which in my experience, cops who are in the military tend to be better than cops who weren't.
Yeah, they have discipline. They have discipline at least.
Yeah. But the second one I have is I was driving.
Oh wait, I missed the first one. It was you on the road and the cop stopped you.
Yeah, he stopped me because he saw me on my phone.
On your phone. And then what happened?
Yeah. And then he gave me directions as to how to get back to.
This was the good cop story.
Yeah, no,
I was waiting for like the drama part.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Okay,
I was waiting for it to get bad. Yeah.
Okay. The bad one that I'll do. It wasn't a police officer. It was a sheriff.
Elected, so yeah, that's always great. You know, when
no,
they're elected.
No. The sheriff is elected. The sheriff deputies aren't.
Oh, because this is a deputy.
He couldn't not have been nicer.
Well, this one wasn't. So this one he accused me of being on my phone. I wasn't, which was like it was like
car again. Like
yeah.
Okay.
It was the most irritating thing. Was like I had my phone like maps on because I was going for work and we had to drop by like a Home Depot before we headed off to the actual site. So I put in the actual site and then I was like, okay, we're gonna drive to the Home Depot to go pick it up. So I put my phone on my seat, and I guess the cop, like when I was stopped at a light, I guess the cop like saw me look down at my lap or something. I don't know.
What did you look like physically at that time?
Just a dude.
Just the normal, like nothing that would have stood out or caught his attention.
Not particularly. No, I was in a little Ford Ranger, but I mean, yeah. He stopped me, and then he said, okay.
I used to drive my grandparents' little Ford Ranger all the time. Like I got pulled over more in that thing for some reason. I never gotten any tickets, but I got pulled over more in that thing for some reason. I got pulled over in the other car. I never understood why. Anyway, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're right. But no, the thing is, okay, so he comes up to my car and he's like, all right, you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, no, sir, I don't. I was, sitting.
You didn't say it like that.
Yeah, you do. If you're talking to a cop, if you're talking to your cop in the South, you better. That's the exact way you match their you do. Well, with code, it's code switching. It's code switching.
Yeah,
you match their accent.
Yeah,
I will every time if a cop comes to me, if a cop pulls me over and he's got that accent, I'll be like, yes sir, I sure do. Let me go ahead and get that.
I got the cop character, but then the lib character started talking the same as the cop.
You do, yeah. Yeah, you
really code switch. You code switch, man. It's the same like we're talking about body language yesterday. Like if like they tell you to mirror body language. I kept trying to like bring this up, but I kept not being able to. Like if you're in situations, especially stressful ones, you always want to mirror the body language of whoever you're talking to. If like they got their arms crossed, you cross your arms. You do the exact same thing they do.
I don't even pay attention to their body language much.
Well, if it can save you in some situations because people like you better whenever you mirror their body language.
Yeah.
Probably.
But anyways, then he
gives them the impression that you share their disposition, and so it's something to bond over.
Well, they'll just have to deal.
Yeah.
I like your
unless they're like doing like this or something like that, then that's gonna be bad.
But I've had plenty of like successful interactions with people despite me not paying attention to their body language.
Oh no, you totally can. It's just something.
You're authentic. That's
established trust.
People appreciate.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, but like, yeah, unless they're doing like a fighting pose or something, like you don't want to mirror that because then they're gonna be like, okay, time to fight. But other than that, yeah,
Hey, I love
just,
to fight. Somebody's ready to fight.
I mean, I don't want to fight with
You
no
mean
cops.
physically
Raise
fight?
your
You
hands.
mean like
No,
you
like
mean fisticuffs?
verbally.
Yeah, verbally
not
is not the
physically.
same
Cops-
thing. I'm
cops
talking about
don't
somebody
say-
puts if
Also,
somebody puts their
But
fist up.
I want to finish Liv's story.
Yeah. Anyway,
We
so
got-
so he goes. He goes. So I saw you looking at your phone, and when he says saw, he puts both of his hands like in circles and like puts them over his eyes like they're
like he was looking through
like
something.
binoculars. Yeah, he's like he did that
Maybe they
in
were
front of
opera
me
glass.
in public, like. And like wasn't joking, like he was dead ass serious, and I was like, I wanted to laugh. I had to restrain myself because it was the funniest fucking thing. And I was like, well, officer, I wasn't looking at my phone. And he looks at my passenger side seat where my phone is, and he sees the map on there, and he's like, maps on there, and he's like, well, I see you got your maps on there. I saw you looking at that, and I was like, I wasn't looking at that, officer. I'm sorry. And he's like, well, I'll write you a ticket for it anyways. I mean, sure, I got a ticket for it though. So
What was the charge on the ticket?
Distracted driving, because that's what using your phone.
And you honestly were not looking at. You just
I honestly was not.
Not looking at it.
I was not looking at it.
And the Supreme Court has ruled before that a cop's like visual identification of something is sufficient evidence to convict somebody of a moving violation. They've done this before. Even if they pull you for speeding and they don't have like the speedometer proof, they can still win that in court. The Supreme Court has judged this, that like they can they are trained enough so that if they just think you're speeding, that's enough.
Yeah, it's but I mean, that for what it's worth, that's just for moving violations. Like I don't like it, but it's not like the absolute worst part of the cop's job. Like it's annoying, but like I also understand why they have that sort of ability. Yeah, no, I mean, like
Santa story.
most of the cops I know were most of the cop stories that I have are pretty fine. But that's usually because, when I get pulled over by a cop, I go, yes, sir. No, sir.
Me too.
I just,
I
do that.
I don't make the assumption that I'm not like, I want to hear why he's pulling me over. Maybe something's happened wrong with my car. Maybe like I have a very open mind going into it. I'm not jumping to any conclusions when I.
There was also a cop who pulled me over while for a headlight that was out as I was on my way to the AutoZone to go replace the headlight. Like,
did you tell him that, and was he nice enough to let you off?
Yeah, no, he was. And because I was like, literally, I was like 2 driveways away from the AutoZone when he pulled me over. Like, I was like, it was the most irritating thing. I was like, oh no. And but then after that, after he did all that, he's like, all right, now, do you got any methamphetamine, marijuana, or cocaine in your car? And I was like, yeah, and I was like,
something about you looked druggy.
I mean, I was 16.
I've gotten asked the question just by every time I gotten pulled over. So
for what it's worth, what I think it was at the time in the town that I lived in, which was like just a fucking little quiet suburb. There was some big hubbub because apparently a group of high schoolers had gotten caught in a park smoking weed, and that was like a big enough thing that like there were news stories on it.
Oh my god, where was this?
I know. Just a little town outside of Memphis. It's like, I mean, like it was just like, yeah, like that's what my perspective is. It's like at the time I was in high school and I didn't smoke weed, but I knew a lot of people who did, because
I can't wait to hear Steve's cop story. But first, I know that Leah had a couple.
Yeah.
That sounded very interesting. I'm gonna grab a refill and come back, and I want to hear those. I'll be right back.
Well, crap! I want to wait till he gets back before I tell him the story.
Yeah.
How's it going, Steve? How you doing,
all right, man? I took a nap, dude, and I wiped myself out until like just now.
Oh,
That's
God.
what I did yesterday after the show. After the show, like I was trying to like work on some cleaning stuff, and like I ended up starting having a panic attack, and I took a Klonopin, and I laid my ass down for a minute. I passed out until Survivor came on. I was just like I passed out for I passed out for like 6 hours, and then when Survivor was over, I actually slept until morning, so that was good. I mean, I actually got sleep for once. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
really fast. I have someone else's cop story where they outran the cop.
Oh my
I
God.
have one of those too, but
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't tell it because it's about somebody else. But I want to hear Leah's.
Yeah.
You said
I
it was one about
appreciate it.
mistaken
I'm
identity?
I actually got to go. I got to take my girlfriend to an eye appointment. So
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice. You're a good
but-
boyfriend.
Oh, it was nice talking to you.
I try. Yeah, nice talking to y'all.
I mean, girlfriend. Sorry, I missed.
No, you're fine.
I
It's
actually
fine,
feel
Jeff.
bad. Maybe the culture is changing.
You're
I
fine.
don't feel that bad. I'm gonna forget about it.
It's because we care about Lib though. It's because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
it is
it's
because
not
of
Lib doesn't force that stuff on us, and he doesn't
yeah.
yell at
He's
us for that
doing.
sort of
This
thing.
is exactly what
So-
I did as a gay person. I tried
Yeah.
to normalize it.
I mean,
get people to see
if
that
there
I'm
were more
like-
if there were more trans people that acted just like Lib, then everybody
That is
would
where you're gonna make
just
progress.
yeah. Everybody
Well,
would just be like,
I
you know what? Yeah, I respect this person. I'm going to respect their pronouns. I'm going to respect all that shit like that. And I try my best to, but I end up calling you. I call everybody dude. So it's not really like whenever I say dude, it's not. I call my wife dude sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's
No,
not
and I
like-
don't. I mean, like my thing
It's
is
not
like,
personal.
y'all are like normal, like respectful people, anyways. Like if y'all had more antagonistic approaches towards me, my perception might be different, but that's because like was like you are respectful towards me, so I'm respectful towards you.
And we actually like you too.
Yeah,
we
that's
we
true.
actually
How life
like you.
should be.
What was that, Leah?
I just said that's how life should be.
Yeah,
Mutual respect.
exactly.
I believe in it.
True.
Yeah.
But if
It
people
is-
aren't
that's how
respectful, then
life
I
is,
will
like,
call
people are
them
not respectful.
all sorts of names and slurs.
So Leah,
All right, man.
tell
Well,
us
have
this-
anyways.
fun.
Y'all be well.
We'll see you later, Lib.
Tell us this missing identity thing.
Okay, so
Mistaken identity.
I think I somehow or another, it might have been on here or it might have been on FlowState's panel, that I ended up telling this story because this was just weird. And actually, I think it might have been here because I remember it being something to do with something that Chris had said. So for anybody who didn't hear this story, what happened was I got arrested and the cop told me, you have a warrant out for your arrest for credit card fraud or bank fraud or some type of fraud. And I was like, what? I don't even own a bank. I don't even have a bank account at this bank. I don't have a credit card. I didn't have any, like, I think I was in between jobs. I didn't even have any cash at the time. But, I'm like, okay, whatever. This will sort itself out. Like, so I go to the station and they process me and then they take me down to the magistrate to go before the judge for an arraignment. And I get all the way there and it's right when I'm about to go in to see the judge that the cop comes back out and he's like, I am so sorry. We got the wrong girl because it was the same first and last name, but didn't check and run to see if it was the social security number or any of the other information matched. He just saw the name and looked at my ID and he was like, oh, we're gonna book you. We got you. There's a warrant out for you. Like a moron.
So that was incompetence.
Yeah. That
What
was
did they do? Like
incompetence.
what did they
Here's
do?
the really,
for
really
you?
weird one though. Like nothing came up after that. Like they just
sent
let
you
me
on
go.
your way and said we're sorry. Like you didn't get a
Like it wasn't even put on my record because all he did was just like they arrested the wrong person. But so yeah, nothing came of that. He apologized and he let me go and he's like, do you need a ride home? And he gave me a ride home.
I guess that's nice.
But the really, really weird one was when I was with my husband and I think it was, I can't even remember what it originally was, but it was something really stupid like that he pulled us over for, and the cop was the one being facetious, and he was like, so do you got anything that I need to be concerned about? You got any drugs, maybe dead bodies in the trunk? And my husband, thinking that the guy is being just, joking and facetious, like, it's a small town local guy. He's like, oh yeah, no, just only like 3 or 4. And the cop was like, oh, okay. And he goes and walks back to his vehicle. And then he comes back and he's like, okay, we're going to search. Another cop car came. They brought a drug dog. They made us get out and stand over by the car, search the whole vehicle. And now, mind you, the trunk and the back seat were piled full of stuff because we were kind of sort of not really living out of the car at the time. We had a place to stay, but just had a whole bunch of stuff packed in the car. And so they actually had to tear everything out of the back seat and the trunk and search. They found absolutely nothing. And my husband just looked at the cop, smiled, and said, well, now you got to put everything back in. I'm not
That
doing
does
it.
sound kind of
You pour that
asshole-ish.
stuff out, you put it back in. And so they had to stand there and like load everything back into the trunk in the back seat. They found it all because the cop was the one who was like, so, got anything you need to
it's
worry
hard
about?
not to
You got any
search
dead
after he
bodies in the
says.
trunk? And my
Yeah.
husband was thinking that he was just like joking. And so, just trying to like have a good rapport, banter a little, joke, put the guy at ease. He's like, oh, yeah, no, just like 3 or 4 bodies, nothing to worry about.
Is that
Just
a bad
joking.
idea?
And
Don't joke with
And
cops.
when the,
Yeah, I
and
think
when
that's
the-
probably a
now
bad
when
idea.
Because I
asked
don't
the
know that I
officer,
wouldn't do that either.
when he asked the officer, well, why are you searching me? And the officer dead looked him in the eye and said, well, you admitted that you have bodies in the trunk. So, like, this is what I'm talking about when, but these guys really honestly had nothing better to do with their time. Like, they were in such a small area, and there was literally only like 2 cops for the entire town.
Yeah, they do get
And
bored.
they just really wanted something to do that day.
I mean, I'm sure that's what happened with me with like when I had the 5 cops pulled me over. I'm sure it was just like it was such a tiny town that had way too many cops. It had way too many cops in that tiny little town. And so I'm pretty sure that was the entire police force that pulled me over. It was a sheriff's SUV and 4 patrol cars. So like, I'm pretty sure like that was the
Well,
entire
you need to
police
tell the
force.
story. Did I tell you about that time I got pulled over by an entire police force?
Oh, difficult Denizen, they totally put the stuff back. They did.
Oh, they did put it
I know
back?
you.
That's
Yeah,
surprising.
Yeah, that
Denizen
is
doesn't
surprising.
believe it. Yeah, it is really surprising. But I mean, I think the cop, he was like a rookie too, and his chief was looking at him like, "You're an idiot." He was so mad at the rookie cop.
I bet he
Like,
was. Well, that's how I did see that look on the. I saw that look on the sheriff's face too. Like whenever they got done searching my car and everything, and all those cops had gotten there and everything, I saw that look on the sheriff's face too. That sheriff was looking like real mad, like looking like not not mad towards me directly. He was looking at the cops, just like shaking his head a lot, just like I can't believe
Yes,
I can't believe I left the donut shop for this.
That was exactly the expression the chief had. The chief looked at the guy that pulled us over. That cop was looking at him like, "I can't believe you just made me waste like 45 minutes of my time on this. You made me get the drug dog. You mean like we." Oh yeah, he was really mad that day.
I got a couple stories for you guys if you want to hear them.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's hear it.
I would
ahead.
definitely want to hear what a cop story in your world sounds like.
Excuse me. I don't necessarily have any bad ones, but I'm one of those guys that I have way bigger balls than I should. So, there's been a couple of times where, because I look like a biker, man, like especially when I'm riding my bike. I've only had one really kind of sour interaction with police officers, but most of the time I just hold. I hold them accountable when they're with me. But the best, so first and foremost, everybody should really, really read up on the precedences for reasonable articulate suspicion and probable cause. Like, you guys got to know that shit. But the first story is I got pulled over for a light out. I was driving my truck, and I look like I do, and I think I was wearing my leather jacket. And it was like 1 o'clock at night. I was coming home from my friend's house where we were, just hanging out and doing shit. And he pulls me over, my taillight's out, which is fine. I mean, that's everyday shit. I'm sure that happens all the time. And the guy walks up and he's like, "Hey, why I pulled you over?" I'm like, "No, because I don't. But you should never answer that question, by the way. And he says, "Well, you got a tail light out." I was like, "Okay. License and registration." Give him my license and registration. He comes back in like under 5 minutes, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way this guy ran all my stuff already." Right? I mean, it usually takes like 5 to 10, maybe even 15 minutes sometimes. I swear to God. But it was incredibly fast. It probably was under 5 minutes. And he comes up and he's like, "So have you been drinking tonight?" I'm like, I was looking at the right side of my truck for some reason. I was looking for something I don't remember, or I was looking at my stereo, and I just did that whole turn your head slow kind of thing, and I was like, "No, I haven't been. Why would you even think that I have been drinking?" And he's like, "Well, I kind of smelled a little bit of alcohol on in the car when you were talking." I'm like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't." Again, and I just dead ass looked at him in the face. But he says, "Well, I have reasonable suspicion to believe that you've been drinking." I'm like, "No, you don't. Otherwise, you'd explain it to me, but you don't. So why don't you go ahead and get your supervisor down here so that we can have a little chat together?" He goes back to his car, comes back, just hands me a fix-it ticket, and then leaves.
Oh, you didn't need the supervisor. You didn't
Yeah,
need to
dude,
call Paul Slade. Brian
I
was
am-
should have called you.
Yeah, I'm not patient with them, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for it one day. But the other time was I was riding my Harley. I was riding my chopper, to be specific, and through this little town in Utah. This little town in Utah has a reputation for having some real fucking asshole cops. And so I stopped at the stop sign. I was coming out of my ex-wife's house because I was dropping off some money or something. I don't remember. But dropped off, pulling out, and I go to the cop saw me pull out of the neighborhood because she lived in these apartment complexes that were like, they were obviously low income apartments. They knew that. A lot of single mothers, a lot of like drugs and shit that go through there. But so I pull out of there. The stop sign's just a little ways down the road to get onto the main street. And so this cop watched me this whole time. I stopped at the stop sign, and then I proceeded to turn right. And not even 100 yards, and I swear to God, his lights, his cherries were already on. So I pull over, and I turn my bike off, and they go through the whole shtick. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, I don't. And he says, "Well, you didn't stop at that stop sign there." I was like, "Yeah, I did. Don't fucking lie. Like, if you're gonna pull me over because I look like I look, then just be honest about it, but don't try and bullshit me." He's like, okay. Well, do you know any gang members? I'm like, "Do I look like I know fucking gang members?" Like, dude, I was rude as fuck. I was rude as fuck to these guys, and I'm just sitting there, and they're like, "Well, you understand we have a job to do," and I was like, "You understand I don't have to give a shit. Why the fuck should I give a fuck? And do you really think I'm gonna rat people out just because
This was a traffic stop?
They see is a member of the Hells Angels.
Well, they just had Hells Angels run through there and had caused a big ruckus probably 6 months prior to that pullover. So I'm sure that they were, doing something. But the guy was like, "Well, we're also members of the gang task force here in X town," and I'm like, "I don't care. Why does this matter to me at all? Like, are you trying to blackmail me into saying something so that I don't get a ticket? Like, what? Give me a fucking ticket and let me go. Like, you're already harassing me by detaining me unreasonably." And they just, for some reason, they just kept kind of like trying to be the nice guys about it. And I'm just like, dude, it was so fucking obvious what they were doing that it was almost comedic. Actually, it was very comedic. I went home and I told my ex-wife about that story, and she started laughing. She's like, "I don't know how you get away with it." And I'm like, "I don't know either, but someday it's gonna fucking burn me in the ass." But I'm trying to remember. They asked me a specific question. I had a specific answer. and I think it was do you, well, okay, so they said, do you know any members in any clubs? I'm like, yeah, and they said, well, what are their names? It's like, I'm not gonna give you their fucking names. Like, what makes you think I'm gonna give you their fucking names? Well, we're just trying to keep a safe city, a safe neighborhood. And I'm like, so you think that people that look like me are already inherently dangerous? That's a fucking problem, because there's been many Supreme Court rulings on that. Yeah, I was like, I'll even pull up my phone and I'll even read these off to you. You cannot detain me simply because of the way that I look. And that's exactly what you're fucking doing right now. Asking me a bunch of irrelevant questions to the reason why you pulled me over, and I've been here for 20 fucking minutes. I would consider this unreasonable. You guys gonna let me fucking go? So finally, they just let me go. I would not recommend being that asshole-ish to cops.
No, I was
Personally.
thinking like you could have expedited that whole process by just cooperating.
Dude, I know, but sometimes it's like
It was very left of you, like very woke.
I don't know. That was very conservative of me.
Cop police bias and profiling you for. And I want to talk about quotas when Lib was here, but
yeah, but really quick. So to your point though, Jeff, is yes, I could have made it a faster thing, but it's kind of like I'm never ever going to give any kind of quarter to what I would consider fascistic behavior.
Is that a male thing, like having to humble yourself to a male that you don't think you should have to?
No, it's not the fact, because I've had dozens and dozens of interactions with police officers over the years. By the way, if you never want to get another ticket in your life, get yourself a concealed carry permit. But you'll never get another ticket, I swear to God. But so it has nothing to do with like ego or rudeness or anything like that. I'm usually very compliant. I'm usually very kind and very patient, and I do whatever I need to get out of there as fast as possible. But they start fucking with me, I'm gonna fuck with them back. Like there's something
But
that
the
clicks in my
fucking
brain.
with part seems subjective. Like it's when you feel fucked with.
Well, Jeff, sometimes the subjective matters.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
So
Yeah, but to an
Ragnar was
outside
saying in
listener,
chat. Ragnar was saying in chat that like a lot of them seem like high school bullies that just grew up, and I think there may be some validity to that. That you know,
I
like there
I
are
know
certain
I know
types
for a
of
fact.
you have to
types
treat
of guys
each cop
that
like
go
any
into-
other individual and judge them.
No,
like, you
no,
judge
I will not.
Yes. I'm not
No.
compromising that value of mine. I take
That you
everybody.
can. That's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, when they're in uniform, they are a function of the government. They are a function of the state. And they're a
Yeah,
function of the
They are
local-
supposed to
I
be
don't
servants
take
of the
that as a
people.
negative.
They are public servants. They're not.
I'm glad that we have them as part
Yeah,
of our government.
but at the same time, they do work for us. Essentially,
Yeah.
they work for us. Like they're not. They're there to like. Yes, are they there to like police certain things to try to enforce the law? Yes, but at the same time, like especially if you are a law-abiding citizen, then they technically should be on your side no matter what. You shouldn't have to have an
They
antagonistic
mostly
relationship.
are.
It's about like what Liv was saying.
And here in Irving,
before you
I've
went off.
had
It's
good-
mutual
Just
I've
like
had
when
that
I'm at the
experience.
mall and I see mall security, I'm like, oh, good, they're keeping the mall safe. They have security here. I feel
Oh, you
good
shouldn't think
shopping
that. You
don't-
shouldn't think that about mall cops. Mall cops are not
Yeah.
keeping malls safe. I was a mall cop once, and like we don't do shit. Mall cops don't do shit.
I was a security guard for a
So
few weeks.
I've got friends who were in a local police department, like the big police department in my area, the big city in my area. I've had 4 or 5 of my friends who are police officers. One worked for ICE. I've got another friend that works for another 3-letter company or organization, I should say. And I've got a bunch of law enforcement friends. One of my friends actually worked for the Special Victims Unit in the area that I live in. One of my friends was a cop in the city that I live in. So it's nothing to do with actual police officers. It's the function of their employment that I have the biggest issue with. They're not paid to keep the peace.
It's like some of them stop being human once they put on the uniform and forget forget
Yeah,
that
my
sometimes you
experience
catch more flies with honeys and vinegar of just, being respectful, and you get, that respect back in return. That's I
Yep.
think that's just a big thing is just,
that sounds about like
regardless of what your job is, just
Yeah.
remembering that we're all human at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think for me it's I've wanted police reform for so fucking long that it's ridiculous because the inherent power that they hold to absolutely fucking ruin your life without almost
I don't believe
without
there is accountability. I've seen
I'm
it.
not talking about
Oh,
accountability.
what about
almost with
the
impunity.
what about their ability to like seize
That's
your
if you have
assets and
accountability,
not
then
ever
it's
give them
not
back
without
just based on suspicion? They can seize like money, they can seize anything, they can seize your vehicle,
Yep.
and they never have to give it back under any circumstances, just because if they don't want to. Like you can fight for years to get just because they had a suspicion that your car was involved in a crime at some point, and they can take that car and
it
keep
seems
it.
like a childish stance.
Here's
to
a good
take, and
example.
It seems ungrateful.
Yeah,
or
here's an
unappreciative.
example. So here in the state that I live in, we had a police officer arrested and convicted of how would you put this? They had the highest number of DUI arrests out of any other police officer in the state. And when they started to look into it, they started to realize that this guy has put away so many fucking innocent people just purely to meet this kind of reputational quota that they had. And they found that they had to go back and they had to release every single person that dude had arrested because they couldn't trust any of the numbers that he reported on. It was thousands of people, dude. Thousands of people. These people had their cars impounded. They had their lives ruined in some circumstances. If I get a DUI, dude, I get fired from my job. That's part of the criteria of my NDA. I can never do something like that. There were people that had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to go through these processes for DUIs, getting cars out of impounds, having shit put on their cars so they can breathe into them so that their car will run. Right?
Yeah.
These people have this inherent ability to absolutely defraud the public. And this is the reason why I hold them accountable, because they're not like you and me.
I don't see them as that different than any other individual fulfilling a role, like a social function.
Well, that would be like the president deserves the same respect. No, he doesn't. No fucking president does. The amount of power that they hold
is where the respect is, not necessarily the person.
Absolutely. And I respect the uniform. I don't respect the people wearing the uniform until they show me respect.
Each person that's what I'm saying. Each person is different. If somebody tells me they're a cop, I know absolutely nothing about that. I have no information that tells me. I have to get to know them as a person and figure out what kind of cop they are, what kind of person they are, just like any other.
I just said earlier, if they're respectful, I follow all the things. I'm very cooperative. I'm very respectful. But the second one of these guys gets a fucking bone up their ass, I'm not having it. Having it. I mean, because of the inherent power that they carry.
It's just like what's considered a bone is just subjective to you. It would be different for me.
Yeah, that is partially true. That some people are just going to be bothered by different things, and
like temperament.
I don't really necessarily think there's anything inherently wrong in that. What one person might be offended by, another person might not be. So I think you're both right in this instance of having your different levels of like where you draw the line and your boundaries as far as respect goes. You're both right. You both win.
What I'm saying is that once they put that uniform on, that is a different criteria that I'm going to judge someone by. It doesn't mean that I don't see them as a human being. It doesn't mean that I don't see them as a possible, compassionate, loving, and kind human being. I operate under the same premise that you do. I'm going to treat them like a human being until they stop treating me like one. But that uniform is kind of like one of those things where it's like it's going to lead my assumptions much earlier about the situation than otherwise, because I have seen them do it to me. I've seen them do it to my friends. I've seen them push people around, use their authority as kind of
because you've
bullying.
seen some cops do it, you assume all cops are going to potentially do that.
That
They
is also
always
a
have the
pretty
power
human
to
thing
do
to
so.
do, to have
There's
pre-existing
difference.
biases. Let's not forget that either. Is that like that's just like a universal thing that in different situations where we meet different types of people, we just might have pre-existing biases. Like I think people people do that the same with just kind of like anybody who's doing any kind of government work, like people in maintenance, people in security, people in service work. Like there's just something, because there's a stereotype that exists for each thing.
Yeah.
We might come into the situation automatically kind of assuming that that person is more than likely to fall into that stereotype. That's like just how we look at it at first until we actually have the interaction.
I mean, if someone's going to be a dick to me
stereotypes
randomly,
exist for a reason, because there has been something at some point in our lives that has shown that, that thing to have happened to make it a stereotype in the first place.
yeah. I'm not trying to ignore what you're saying, Jeff, because you have a valid point. You have an absolute valid point. I should treat them like human beings, and I do, but that uniform changes shit a lot.
Right, but it also sounds like even before that until point, there's still some baggage you have associated with the uniform, the office.
No, there's no baggage. It's an understanding that conceptually they hold significant power over the people that they interact with.
Yeah, because
And
we
I'm
give
aware
them
of
that
that power.
power for reasons that I want them to hold that power.
And it seems
I
to me
get
like
that.
you guys both have different expectations, because you've both had very, very different experiences.
Well, yeah, and
So
I'm
that's just kind of
anti-authoritarian too. So,
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking sadist.
well, I mean,
That's how committed I am to it.
Well, anti-authoritarianism understands that there are some systems, and particularly law enforcement, do carry through with many of the roles of authoritarianism, because they are taught, they are trained to always do whatever they can to maintain control over the situation, and they will enforce their will on you.
Yes,
And that is something I have an inherent problem with. If you look at policing in almost any other country, it's drastically different. Drastically different. I don't have issues with Swedish police. I have issues with police here in the U.S. because of the way they operate. But I still treat them like human beings until something changes.
I also know that my encounter with the cop is never limited to that one cop. Like it never stops with that. But there's always other people I can bring into the situation if I need to. So I never feel like I'm at the mercy of any single cop.
Well, good for you. I hope that never goes wrong.
Like I know how the grievance system. I used to work in it, in the mental health side. So I know all of the like accountability mechanisms I can invoke if I need to. So I never like I feel empowered when I'm with the cop. I don't feel like, regardless of the authority differential that's there, I still feel like I have some power over the situation as well as a citizen.
Yeah. The only situation that the only thing that I want to bring up really is that you also have to acknowledge the fact that they are responsible for enforcing unjust laws.
sometimes, yeah.
That responsibility does not rest with them. That rests with
it does.
So, no.
They're the first responders to a crime, right? So if you get beat up, well, not you.
So we want the cops
I think what Jeff means is that changing the laws is what would fix
What's
that.
the purpose of having a legislature if the cops are just going to be the final arbiters on what actually is a law?
No, they're not. They are responsible for enforcing those laws. They don't create them.
Yeah,
they're not responsible for enforcing them.
So I said, because they don't create them, the responsibility for them doesn't lie with them. And it sounded like you said that it did, and it was their responsibility to not enforce laws that you thought were not just.
Well,
I said it's not a cop's job to determine what
we're
laws
supposed
are
to create our own laws.
Right. So
usurps the
we the
judiciary.
people.
Perhaps I'm not communicating this effectively. So it doesn't matter what law is a law, right? They are responsible for enforcing that law. That's their
Right.
duty, right? So if you have a law that is wholesale unjust, let's
And
say,
what is that? Until the
well, I
Supreme
will
Court
tell you.
determines
Give me a
all
second.
laws are just.
So, yeah. So, for example, well, I have my own subjective view of what's unjust and what's just. But
Yeah,
if you
but-
look at
but
it on the
we
whole,
don't have
it
to
is
abide
it
by
is
it.
absolutely unjust if a police officer was to come to Chris's house, and let's say Chris's wife just beat him, right? They're going to arrest him. There's some states where he will be arrested. Minnesota, perfect fucking example of this. If he lives in Minnesota, he is
that's true.
fucked. He
Yeah,
is going
that's
to
true.
fucking jail, even
Yeah,
if
that's
there
true.
is
In some
not a
states, in
mark on
domestic
her.
situations, both people
I
are
would
both
say
people
that
are
the
arrested,
law
no matter
it
who's at
should
fault.
and probably is being challenged, and that's how you address unjust laws.
Yeah,
You
but
challenge
until
it.
then, he's going to be arrested, and that's an
It's
unjust
not
law.
up to the cop to like prejudge the law and say, I don't think this law is just. While it's going through the process of being challenged, I'm going to just not enforce it in the meantime because I'm convinced it's not just.
Right. So that's authoritarianism.
So I think we can all agree that basically what the issue is we all pretty well take issue with the way that police procedure is
I
handled
don't.
out. Is that authoritarianism that they don't have any choice or any
Wh-
like autonomy in the matter?
Correct.
My
what I
issue
think
is with arbitrary or pointless authority. That's the satanic perspective. The cop authority is not arbitrary or pointless. So it's not an authoritarianism I necessarily have an issue with.
No, Frank, I'm not wearing plaid. I'm sorry.
Well,
I
Like,
think
you could have
pretend,
just lied. You could have just lied, Leah. You're
Create
not
your
even
own
on camera.
fantasy
The
birthday.
inside
We
of
will
my
let you
hoodie is
more.
plaid. It's a reversible hoodie, and the inside
Okay,
is
there you
plaid.
go.
So
So
technically, yes.
there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. That
she's
counts.
wearing
All
some
right,
plaid.
Steve,
Yep.
are you wearing plaid? Okay. All right, we're all
yeah.
covered.
I don't think I've ever seen Steve not wear plaid.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a t-shirt right now, but yeah, usually I do wear flannels.
Oh.
But you know, there are some arguments about privatizing police forces.
Or demilitarizing as well.
Yeah, absolutely demilitarizing them, but not ruining for them the opportunity to ensure their own safety.
Yeah.
So I do believe that police officers should have specific equipment that will help them in situations that they need them. Like SWAT teams definitely need protective gear. You know, they do need some modicum of machinery, including vehicles that would help them. You know, with their
Not get killed on the job.
yeah, not get killed on the job. I absolutely want those things for those people, but how they're used and how they're promoted scares the absolute living shit out of me. And there's some states where their advertisements for their law enforcement is just like, holy fucking shit. It's creepy as hell.
Like what? I don't know what you mean by that. Their advertisement.
Oh God, there was a police station. Oh my God, I'm gonna do this a disservice. I've got to remember what book it was from and see if I can pull it. But there was a police station that had an ad on TV. It was from Corruptible by Brian Klaas. Oh, damn it. Do I have that book? I know I physically have that fucking book somewhere. There it is. So there was a part in the book where he describes the different policing the different policing styles of the US and other countries. So the US, he made one example. I wish I knew where it was, if I could remember it, but I'm not going to go through the whole book trying to find it. Where this police department had this really very militaristic kind of ad where they had their SWAT fucking tank and their fucking they had all their guys hopped up in fucking like combat gear and shit like this, and they're like, if you want to come join the police department, you know, it was very like, holy shit. And then he gave a drastic comparison to the New Zealand police. I think it could have been anybody really, but we'll just say it's the New Zealand police. And this ad involves their officers running through these neighborhoods, running through these these backyards and stuff like that. And at the end, it was like to give some girl her backpack or some shit. I don't remember what it was, but they approached it very differently. Where the New Zealand Police Department was like, "Hey, do you want to join a police department that helps their community, that is compassionate and loving and cares about the people that they serve?" Right? These are two vastly different perspectives that we have.
I don't think that cops don't do that. Like, something in me resists your characterization of the cops in the U.S. as not wanting to do that.
I think
cops
being married
care
to a
about their
police
community.
officer or
I
having
think
a
they care
family
about
I
the
think there
people
are
they
cops that will
serve.
do that.
will
There are
contribute
cops that
to
will.
Right.
I've
There
got-
are
I-
cops are individual. There is a range of cops, and each cop
Yeah.
you meet is going to be one of
No,
these
the
individuals.
the cops that have come to my house that
I guess I'm arguing against
with different
prejudice
situations.
against cops. There's no reason to hold this negative view against them ahead of time, and that's what I'm counting here. It's the definition of prejudice.
you're on the side of trying to actively leave your biases at the door, and that's
I don't
that's
have any
one thing.
bias against cops. I don't know why I don't. I've
That's the
had
one thing,
I've had
donuts.
some negative experience with a few of them, but I don't have this knee-jerk reaction to the idea of cop, or seeing a man in a cop uniform, or being stopped by a cop. Like, I'm completely neutral on it. I just acknowledge it as part of society, and I interact with it as a citizen.
Well, you can.
I also
Yeah,
I don't
have
have
a
a
bias of a
about
cop
I don't have a
helping
bias
me in a
against. I don't have
domestic
this
situation,
prejudice
so
that I
I've been
bring
able to
into it.
rely on that.
Well, again, I'm not calling
That's-
cops bad people, Jeff. You seem to
It
think that I'm
sounded
calling
like
them
when
bad
you
people.
described New Zealand's cop force and contrasted it with us, we sound like monsters that don't care about the
Yeah.
community. Like, why do you think cops
I
go
thought
in
it
to
sounded to
bully
me more like
people,
he
not
was
because they
describing
care
the
about people?
system.
Right. So
We
that's
can
my
separate the
point that
people
I was
from
going
It
to
just
get
seems
to.
cynical. It seemed like a biased, cynical view of cops, where I think if individual cops would fall way beyond just that limited, narrow view of it.
Well, they
The
definitely.
point
I think
is,
cops as a whole need way more training. They need way more
Oh,
training.
absolutely.
There needs to be a lot more. They need to be a lot more discriminative in terms of who they hire to be cops. That those
Until
things,
what?
those
You will
things are
stop
true.
seeing them negatively?
No, I'm just saying in general. I think and most cops would agree too that they need more training.
Probably,
Yeah.
but
They
I was
don't- they
talking
don't-
about the
yeah.
negative bias that a lot of people seem to have toward cops. Is training going to address? Is if they gave cops 2 years of training, would you tend to view them less negatively?
Probably.
I think
that you
there
get
would
more
there
than
would-
that.
There's
they
just,
would-
to me,
they
like,
would
my just
probably-
intuitive
they'd probably
sense, my
be
vibe
less-
sense is a lot of you just don't like cops. Just anti-cop.
No,
I'm not. I seriously, I've
No,
had
not at
really
all.
good
Y'all don't
experiences
talk
with a lot of
very
cops here in Irving.
positively about cops. So when you say I'm not, but then I hear your actual discourse about cops, there's some cognitive dissonance for me.
I've never been against cops, Jeff. Never been against cops.
I can give you
and I
an
should say,
anecdotal thing that's a positive thing to kind of balance out the negativity.
let me hear
As
what
a
Steve would say
domestic
real
violence
quick, and then
survivor, I've had situations where I got help from police when it was needed, and so
Yeah.
there's not all of my experiences were bad, and I've had good experiences with police officers, when I was really in a time of need. And so again, I think it is also just like Jeff said, cops are human beings. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But I'm also on the side of Steve, where I do think that the system kind of needs some reform, because there's a lot of downsides to the system. Okay?
Sorry, I'm laughing.
So
Loving your comment,
that's
Jeff.
me
That was all.
being a medium in this situation.
yeah. It's the reason for the comparison in the book for this is that the reason why he wrote the book Corruptible is he was interested in understanding systems of power and how things happen to where we get bad people in powerful situations, right? And his argument is that we build our structures that we rely on so much so that it attracts the kind of people that we don't want in there, actually. So talking about police departments, if your advertisement involves supporting a culture of militancy, right, you're going to get very militant people in it. Versus the New Zealand perspective, which is they approached it from the perspective of helping the community, supporting the community. They're probably going to get more people that want to do that and experience that. So there's ways that you can create systems that will inherently bring in the worst type of people just by how you structure that
think
and
our
how you
current
structure the
system
culture.
is bringing in the worst type of people? Like, do you think the current cops are the worst type of people? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
I think
I wonder
they
if like maybe you should run a
inadvertently
psych
market towards
evaluation like
people
that.
that do have issues. Yes.
I don't know enough
I think it depends
about
on the
that
city.
to
I think it depends
know
on the
that
city.
whether
Right.
it's
It
true or
depends on the
not.
local culture.
I don't
Absolutely.
know who they market to, but like if they're only marketing to that crowd, I don't know, maybe. But my experience is most cops are not that. You just
I mean, the cops I've experienced in the small towns I grew up in, usually were like they were literally like the high school jocks and everything that didn't make it into like the college football type thing, and like so the things didn't work out and they became cops, and so like they carry that high school bully mentality in with them. And I've talked to these people
I'm
and I've
sure
had conversations
what
with them.
percentage of cops you think are like
I'm just saying, like the ones I've spoken with, I had conversations with that literally admitted that. I mean, like there was this
so
one guy.
out of those people, like how many of the total police force do you think they represent?
I mean, in the small towns and stuff, probably most of them. However, here in Irving, like honestly, I've had nothing but good experiences. Like they've been nothing but kind and helpful, and like they went out of their way to help. They did things they didn't even have to do to help in the situations I was in.
Yeah.
And so like I mean, I've had really good experience with the cops. Okay, don't get me wrong, but I've also spoken to cops that literally told me, like with their own words, and they weren't joking, that when I worked as a mall cop, there was a mall cop that worked there that was fired from the police force, and he said what he missed most about being a cop was violating people's civil rights.
Right.
And
So that one guy overrides your image of because of that one guy. You all of a sudden think has like slightly more of a
What I
negative
kind
bias
of draw
against
from
all
that
cops.
is where you're raised and the type of environment you're raised in is probably going to play a factor into it as well, because we are all seeming to draw a very stark contrast between like smaller towns and larger cities. And I don't think that should be skipped out on as a factor playing into it, is that, you know, the environment you're raised in is going to play a factor into how you're going to approach your police work and the attitude you're going to have on the job. Because that's true for everybody, regardless of what field they work in. I mean, how you're raised.
Yeah, it's just the only difference is that that cops have that power to keep the cops have the power to be that
to have
bully.
the power? I want them to have that. I'm glad
So,
they have that. Thank
Jeff,
God they have that power.
I think
Jeff,
better filtering would keep that kind of thing out. You know, like better like psychological profiling, that things that like they need to pass. They need to
They
pass
probably
better.
do. I know they don't want. They can filter out.
Then how's a guy that like literally like
you think every department in the U.S. works exactly the same? Like there's probably a whole range of ways that they recruit and hire for their region or whatever. Like that's one thing. That's one of my frustrations with this generalized abstract conversation. I think it builds up a distorted image of what you actually see on the ground if you visit different police precincts across the nation.
So a couple of things. One is what would it take to convince you that this is a serious problem? And I will come back on another. I'll come back on another show, and I will.
What specifically is it? Like bullying cops? What specifically is a serious problem?
How many? You said how many officers are bullies?
The ones Chris described, where he said the guy said, "I can't." Like my favorite part of being a cop was being able to bully people.
Yeah, his problem is he just got caught.
Those kind of cops.
Yeah.
I believe
he got fired. He did get fired
such a
for
small
doing that.
percentage as to not be anything that we have to worry about as a nation. Individual police jurisdictions can worry about them as it crops up, but it's nothing I have to sit in my bedroom and stress.
Let's say that 1 out of every 10 cops, though,
and it doesn't change the way I see a random cop on the street. Where I have to, I don't.
1 out of 10 is still a really high percentage of a chance that you might be encountering a psychopath.
It's like I don't assume every black guy's a thug. I don't assume every Mexican person's a gang member. That seems like a shallow stereotype. It seems prejudicial. And it's like growing up, it's everything we were taught not to do, like as kids. Don't stereotype, don't prejudge people, get to know first. And it seems like with the cop, with the class of cops, there's this image of the bad
But
cop of the
your
cops, that all
interaction with
cops get
cops doesn't give you
justified.
the option to get to know them. He doesn't give you the option to get to know them. It doesn't give you the option to
Every
like
interaction with I've ever had with the cop, I've had the opportunity to gotta talk to that cop since then.
I like your voice,
body
Leah,
of
by the way.
experience with
I
that
like your
particular
voice. I
cop.
think
I've
there's
never
nothing wrong
been
with it.
denied.
Right. So,
Oh,
but these are
thank you.
your subjective experiences, Jeff. So you're asking, you're challenging our subjective perspectives against your subjective perspectives.
No, I'm
how is that
challenging the
equal or
stereotype
right?
of the bully cop that it's the defining stereotype of the modern police force.
No, it's not. It's not the stereotype. It's a problem endemic within the system that they operate in. Like, to acknowledge that isn't necessarily a bad thing. But again, I don't go around judging every police officer. I'm just aware of the power that they hold to fuck up my life. That's not subjective, dude. That is objective, real truth.
Well, your sense of their power is subjective because I don't have the same sense. Like
It's
on
not a
paper,
sense of
they have a
power,
certain
dude.
amount of power. How you experience that power is subjective because I don't experience the same degree you do.
Dude, their ability to ruin your life is not subjective.
Yes, it is until they actually ruin it. Like my subjective experience, a cop has the same power over me as he has over you, but we experience that cop totally differently. How is that not subjective?
Because if you were alone with a police officer, let's say that there's no one else around, right? And he just really did not fucking like you. There is
Hi, Jeff.
nothing that he can't say on his report that you can refute because their
That's
testimony
not what I'm saying.
means is more valuable in court than yours is. There's a fundamental fucking problem when we the people don't have as much power
I'm
as the
saying
jackbooted fucking
you
thugs that are doing that kind of
experience
shit.
that potential problem. It's a potential problem. You experience that potential problem on more deeply on an emotional level than I do. That's the subjective part.
No,
I don't
I've
have
never
the
experienced
same
that.
reaction to what you describe as the problem as you do. So there is something subjective about our response to the amount of power that a police has.
Okay. My point, and I'm getting frustrated. At what point does it not become subjective anymore, Jeff? And how many stories do you need before you realize it's not subjective? It's fucking
Look
real,
at it
man.
this way.
How many
If-
stories before what? Before I
think at
lose
the end
faith
of
in
the
the
day,
police
Jeff is still
system?
entitled
Or,
to
like,
have his
what
own
is the goal
opinion.
here? Enough stories for before what?
I agree. He deserves his own
It
opinion.
sounds like my faith
And look
in the
at it
criminal
from the
justice system
other.
is attempted to be undermined.
Look at it from the other angle. If anybody up here was a policeman, a cop, whatever you want to call it, in this day and age, you can expect the fight or fuck the police on a daily basis. How would that affect you doing your job if that's what you encountered day after
wouldn't sign
day
up to do
after
it.
day?
Yeah, if people were to just hate you on principle, and that's kind of what you deal
Exactly.
with every day, imagine
Well,
that
they hate
kind
me
of
because
stuff.
of what
That
I
is
do for
true.
a living,
That is true.
which is why I
That is what
personally
I'm
I wouldn't do it
I'm
for a
being the
living.
voice of that. If that's a big problem, I don't apologize.
Dude, I was a vocal opponent of the defund the police movement. Like, I don't agree with it. On the whole,
that was just stupid. It was such a
Right.
stupid fucking like. So as a protest slogan and everything else, it was so stupid. It was like it was borderline mentally handicapped. It was like
Yeah.
how can you be this stupid to think that this is a good idea to push this as a
Right.
message? This is just like so stupid. Yeah, I agree.
But my point is
We're
that
going to shoot at you every
there's-
day, and then we're going to
Yeah.
demand you get paid less money.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my point is that we can understand that there's a utility for police officers, right? They do amazing shit. The thing that the defund the policers never fucking even commented on is what does law enforcement do for finding missing children or sexual abuse victims, right? They actually do quite a bit.
Yeah, they do.
Whether or not their results reflect that, they do a lot. So the point is what they're actually doing. Yeah, possibly. But what they're actually doing isn't the problem as far as like what the intent of the office is. But when you have a group of people who can reside under the umbrella of qualified immunity, which means if they violate your rights, you can't sue them for it, right? There is an inherent built-in authoritarian power within that group, and every police
And more
officer
laws.
gets this across the country, right?
They have special laws that make
They have
crimes
special
against
laws for
them
them.
worse. Yeah.
But there's a serious problem with that, and that's the
But
thing that
do
I'm
you-
pointing out, is that gives people in that line of field a gross amount of power that we can't just simply
Right.
ignore, and we have to acknowledge the
Well,
times that abuse
wonder-
is
I
actually
mean,
maintained.
I think we can ignore it. Maybe not you and me, but generally speaking, people
do
seem
wonder,
to be doing
though, I
pretty
wonder-
good
I
at
feel
ignoring
like
it.
the entire department is being judged by its abuses. What you're talking about are abuses of power. They happen everywhere, any field, and the entire
It's just the-
has,
it's just
has
that
the entire
when a cop has abuse of power, it's a
industry
much bigger deal.
been
Because
contaminated.
And we
that-
hire
because
and
that
train
can ruin
police
somebody's
to
life.
be abusive too.
But
that's
that's
the
a Tukul fallacy.
the
though.
police
Just
have a
because it
deliberate
happens somewhere
culture
else
of abuse.
It means it's okay for it to happen
What is
here
a
is an
culture of
irrelevant
abuse?
inflation statement.
I'm not ready to accept that.
We
you're
hire
wrong,
low
Denizen.
IQ people who are prone to follow orders more than they are to be capable of critical thinking. We promote people for using that kind of mentality.
Right.
And
I
you're
wonder-
people. De-escalation is discouraged.
And I wonder how much
it
like
give
a
it-
patrol
like
cop-
the training process. The training process is way too short. Not only is it too short, but what it is essentially on how to use the use and escalation of force, circumvention of rights. They don't actually train people to deal with complex
And you
social
don't feel like there's
situations.
enough accountability in those two.
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
the
Oh, definitely not.
accountability
No.
is a big
There's
problem. but-
there's like 1,000 times more accountability now than there was before George Floyd,
Yeah.
and there's
So
still
there's
like
progress.
0.0001% of the accountability there needs to be.
Yeah, if you
Right.
and I'm going to finish this up because I got to get going, but I just want to add this little part. If there's 4 bad cops in a group of 10 cops, right, and you've got 6 really great cops, but they don't do anything to curb the issues that the other 4 are creating, you've got 10 bad fucking cops.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's
And
a good point.
that's
And-
really
and
the
also think
crux of
about
the
also
situation.
Well,
think
you
about the
could
fact
see it that way if you want. I certainly
there's
don't see
also
them as
there's
the
also
same
this
thing.
basic thing of like of career mobility type thing where if you started as a patrol cop, right, but you really want to be a detective or something like that, the only way you're going to get out of that patrol cop thing is by like catching people, right? So you've got to you have to make a name for yourself. So a lot of these patrol cops that pull you over and stuff like that, the ones that do this kind of stuff, they're trying to get a big
You
collar
think they're
so that
pulling
they
over
can.
innocent people?
Oh,
The promotion incentives. It's like the people.
Yeah.
It's
Y'all
kind
are
of almost
making me
like
like
that thing
cops
back in the
even
day
more.
when people
Y'all
are like, I'll promote
do
you
a
if
really
like you
bad
let me
job at
sexually harass
convincing
you, like that type of thing.
I mean, I'm just saying, but that's
the promotional
that's not a good reason. That's not a good reason to put someone in jail because you want a promotion. You know,
How
but
do
like
you
me
know
harder,
why
Daddy.
each
that's how a lot
individual
of
cop
this stuff
are
is
making
structured.
the arrest that they make? That's a big assumption.
where's
I'm
your
not
stats?
willing to
That's
believe
what
that.
I want to say.
You're right. I don't have the stats for that. You're
On
correct,
what?
Doug.
Well, I'm
And,
gonna
and when
come
it
back
when it
and
and when
have
it
those
comes to
stats for you.
laws, people want to go on their emotion of what they think a law should be, not what reality is.
How
You
so?
have to play
You talking
in
about cops?
reality.
That's why
Anybody.
we have to have such a complex system in order to get like laws passed and stuff, because they got to go through all of these checks and balances to make sure that there's like not going to be like it's not violating the Constitution, it's not violating our rights, and it's not conflicting with other like laws already in play and everything. Because I mean, you know, it is that like it has to be something like objective that everybody can follow, and it's not violating someone's rights to follow this law, like our inalienable rights, for example. Like, okay, biggest thing, the Supreme Court has to sit there and like tack out, like, is this going to be in violation of the Constitution if we pass this
That's
law?
the other part. That's the other thing that creates the environment we're in, is not only the police institutions, culture, hiring practices, etc., but also the judiciary. I would actually say they're probably more responsible for the environment we're in, because in a way you expect like abusive, bullheaded bullies to be cops, but we're supposed to have the dudes in robes are supposed to be the critical thinking ones who are supposed to pull down on the reign of power. I would argue we can do better on both ends, and we could just, hire more sensible people with, less propensity for violence, higher IQs, less reverence for authority. I don't think those need to be
review boards.
And if you're
citizen review boards,
if you're a cop and you're forced to do things, to be authoritative, to enforce the law, to use force, then you should be the type of person who's adverse to those things, because you already have enough pressure on you from your job and your responsibilities. The pressure is there. You don't need more pressure on you to act a certain way. And we could change things on both ends, but even if you don't believe in that and you think all humans are the same and we're all just going to be pieces of shit and we're all corruptible, then it's supposed to be the people in the judiciary that are supposed to keep a check on that, and they have failed miserably.
I've got to go, guys. Good talking to you. We'll
Bye,
Good
Steve.
talking to you too.
Okay, take care, Steve.
Always a pleasure, man. Thanks.
Yep.
So music. What's your favorite music?
Maybe tomorrow will be Walmart stories.
Shit that bangs.
Dad rock, alternative rock, indie rock, and like guitar rock and synth pop.
I listen to everything from
I'm with
indie
you
rock
there.
to indie rock to indie rap to
ambient.
pretty much it's indie. Like I pretty much
Jam.
if it's independent stuff, I usually listen to it. I listen to a lot of Y. I listen to a lot of I listen to Prof lately a lot because he's like really fun. He's a really good rapper that's really fun to listen to. I listen to a lot of old school 90s scene kid rock like Get Up Kids and like Get Up Kids like here and Neutral Milk
I will say
Hotel.
this publicly. I saw this on another live stream, and let me just say this really quick because nobody was there to defend him, and I'm so mad that I left the panel before I could defend him. I agree with FlowState that the 90s was a really good time for rock music.
Oh yeah,
What were
90s,
they?
90s.
Well, it was the tail
Not
end
especially.
of some of the better rock, but it was decent.
At the
rock.
end of the 90s.
What were they
I'm
saying about the
standing in
90s?
solidarity.
Sunny Day Real Estate. Sunny Day Real
They
Estate,
said
my
that
favorite
in the
band of all
60s.
time.
They said the same thing about the 60s, the best time for rock. The
It was.
I think rock is
70s,
just a
the
good
best
genre
time
in
for
about
rock.
that, though.
In general,
That's when it was
it's
created.
just so good.
That's because like that's
I heard the best time for rock was in the
Led
80s
Zeppelin
out in the
shit, so.
70s.
with the whole like they brought the rock into the city, you know what I'm saying? The 80s was like the harshest rock under Ronald Reagan, you know what I'm saying, when he was flipping them whole
Right.
things.
There was hardly any like
All right.
classical rock in the 80s at all. Like the hair
There
band.
was
about
there was
punk
some
rock.
It was
punk
an
and stuff
80s
that, like,
crack joke.
That was wavy, wasn't it?
What were they saying about the 90s that Flo was defending?
Well, it was. Oh, I can't remember who was on the panel with him, but
like,
it was
I mean,
he was
there's
like
so many good
naming off
90s
a lot of like
alternative
the
rock
same,
bands.
like
He
yeah,
was
the
talking
same
about
bands I listened to.
racism. He was talking
And
about racism in the 90s was non-existent for a while.
It really
I don't
wasn't.
remember that
big of a
part, but I
deal.
just remember the part about the music, and that was all I wanted to say was like all
It
of the
was the
stuff that he was
silver
listening. I was
age,
like,
the
this is my
twilight
favorite
age.
music, and I was so mad I didn't get to agree with him and like push back on whoever he was
late-
talking to.
Late 90s
Oh,
Flow State. Yeah, late 90s is the golden age. I mean, okay, look at some of the great albums. Like, you had like everything from Neutral Milk Hotels in the Airplane of Sea.
Yeah, but that's
to
like sixth or seventh
a
generation
taste.
rock. That's
That's
not.
I know, but I'm talking
subjective.
about. But you got Foo Fighters put out Color and the Shape. You had Weezer put out the Green Album. Not the Green Album. Sorry, Weezer put out Blue, and they put out Pinkerton, which is like their best album, and
That's all
everybody thinks it's
subjective to the person, though.
No.
It's
I'm
also to
my
me.
opinion. No, I'm sorry, Chuck. You're
Beasties
mistaken.
Are the only one you get
My
points
opinion
for.
is
I
the only
see
one
what
that's
the
correct.
problem is.
Okay, I have the
Oh,
only
okay.
correct opinion. I guess you must
Confused.
misunderstood.
I
Like,
was
I have
confused.
yeah,
Well,
you're confused.
music,
I have
like
the only
art,
correct
is
opinion here.
subjective.
Yeah, you're talking
It is
to
all
so much music
subjective.
geeks.
Pinkerton
You're
is
not
underrated.
confused.
Yes, Flozzy.
That's what I
Pinkerton
say.
is a bad. You know, whenever I finally saw Weezer back, like I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, they actually played way more Pinkerton than like I actually expected them to. They played Tired of Sex. They played The Good Life. They played Pink Triangle. They played El Scorcho. It was amazing. I was so happy to like actually hear those songs live. And Modest Mouse is the fucking shit.
Is
So,
that the guy
God.
that with the mouse head? That
no,
who's
that's
the-
Dead Mouse. Dead Mouse
That-
sucks.
If you don't do Johnny Cash, you ain't shit.
Dude, Johnny Cash is the shit, man.
Willie
I I stand Johnny Cash all day long. And old school Willie Nelson, old school Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr. Like fuck yeah, man.
Well, you got to give Nine Inch Nails credit then because they were
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
Nine
that
Inch
Johnny
Nails-
Cash actually did one of their songs. Okay, like
The Fragile
I
is
know
one of my
one
favorite
person-
songs of all
person-
time.
I know
That
the,
was
the,
Rick
the people who
Rubin.
gave the ones who gave the most credit to 9 Inch Nails was 8 Inch Nails.
But no, Johnny Cash's cover of Nine Inch Nails song was so good that even
Yeah,
I
I know
can't remember the guy's name. He said,
Yeah,
"It's
Trent
not
Reznor
even
said
my
it wasn't his
song."
song anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean his cover of Hurt made because I honestly
Cake
I
is
always
excellent.
thought Hurt whenever I heard the Nine Inch Nails
Everett
version of
was
it like
pretty
way
good,
back
too.
when. I always thought
I
that song
like
sounded
Cake.
whiny and bullshitty and like I hated it. And then
Neil
Johnny
Young's
Cash
okay,
did
especially
it.
early. ABBA.
for a
Well,
long time, I thought
Funk
that
has the
like
best taste
Nine
here
Inch
of
Nails
anybody.
was remaking a song by Johnny Cash, and I thought it was flipped, and people had to correct me and go, no, it was actually their song because I thought that they were
Yep.
actually just like making their
Because
version
Johnny Cash fucking
his song.
owned that shit. Johnny Cash
Oh
took
yeah, oh
Well,
yeah.
he poured a lot of his soul into that
Yeah.
because of how he
Yeah.
related to it.
Yeah,
like,
Eric
But you
Clapton,
got
I
yeah,
mean,
Johnny
you
Cash
got
had
to
a lot of,
remember
like-
Johnny
Go ahead.
Cash was a
Captain
big time
Insidious.
druggie, so he could relate.
Yeah. He also did a cover of Bonnie Prince Billy's "There Is a Darkness" and it's amazing as well. Bonnie Prince Billy's is an indie artist, but he was very heavily influenced by Johnny Cash, and so Johnny Cash doing one of his songs was like highlight of his life for him, and it's amazing. It's like like "There Is a Darkness" is such a fucking dope song too.
You remember when the Johnny Cash special back in the day when he went to Folsom Prison
Oh
to do
yeah,
the concert?
Yeah.
The warden actually pulled him aside about halfway through the concert and he whispered in his ear. He said, "Right now, you got the power to either keep this place as it is or you're going to completely destroy this prison." Because he had the inmates so riled up that all he had to do was say revolt and they'd have tore it up.
Johnny would not have done that though.
No, Johnny wouldn't have done that. No. I mean, Johnny had been to prison himself though.
Well, yeah, that's where he found Merle Haggard.
Yeah. Poser fascist? Who's a fascist, Denizen? Aren't you on the stream?
Neil Young.
No,
You have any cop
Neil Young.
stories?
Skinner called out Neil
I have
Young
a
way
lot of
back
cop
in the
stories.
day.
I don't
They
think
like
y'all would
predicted the
believe 'em.
future.
The only negative one was when I got arrested by the FBI, but other than
Oh
that,
yeah, you told that one because of your
Yeah.
brother.
What was the gist of that one? How's that happen?
mistaken identity.
At what type of location?
My house.
At your house?
Really? What they?
what? How is it like
My-
mistaken
my-
identity at your
Say like the
house?
airport or
Alright.
something.
I'll try to tell it real quick. My brother was in the nuclear program in the Navy.
Oh
He
shit!
went
This is
AWOL.
deep shit, man. This is like some major shit.
He went he went AWOL unbeknownst to us at the house. He shows up and I'm being a 15-year-old kid and he gives me a complete Marines uniform. Brand spanking new Marine
Oh
uniform.
yeah, you tell. You
I
did tell this
put
story
it
before. I
on to
remember
go
now.
strut the neighborhood to impress all my friends.
I remember this
Well,
shit now. Yeah.
I walk out the door, start down the street, and I get picked up by the FBI because they think I'm my brother, who is AWOL from the nuclear program.
They were casing the place.
Yes, they were trying to catch him. Well, yeah, he was in the nuclear program. He knew stuff that others might want to know, you know. So after they drugged me down and realized they had the wrong Bambino, but they finally caught him somewhere in Alabama. He had a wig on and a sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, so he
Oh,
was
yeah.
that
He sounds like
night.
he sounds like a boss.
Can anyone?
Yeah.
Is there any
Based.
cop-
No,
are
he
you
was
just
on
in
the run.
stream? Are there any cop stories that are gonna top that?
I
No,
wasn't
no,
paying
Chuck
attention. What
wins.
happened?
Chuck
Who's
wins
that?
No, no,
hands
no.
down.
But Dennis, I want to hear something.
Chuck's cop
Dennis
story
about.
is
I
the
don't
best
even
cop
call
story.
that.
With me one time, but that's about it.
I don't even call that a cop story. That was just a
What is
strange
this? An
one.
online confessional of all the what they call them, backseat 5-0 confessionals or something, or
Taxi cab.
public funded taxi confessionals.
Yeah. I used to watch that. I had some friends in Vegas that were in that. They got
Dude.
picked up by the taxi cab.
Okay, has anybody not been arrested?
I never
got
got all the way to being fully
Nope.
arrested. I got the
I'm
cop.
shocked that I haven't.
I got the cuffs put on me. I've got a mugshot taken, but I never actually got booked. So I've never actually gotten fully arrested. So
Lanza, you've been
I've
arrested.
gotten convicted, so I'm out.
I've
I
never
mean,
been
I think that's a
charged.
matter of opinion. You know, I mean,
arrest.
Did you
you
have?
got
I think arrest is
convicted
a
like
matter
what
of
of a
opinion.
traffic
It's pretty easy to
violation,
get
or you
arrested.
got convicted after an arrest?
No, yeah,
I'm sorry,
convicted
what
for, it was
question
just a
is happening?
misdemeanor. Thank goodness it wasn't a felony.
You ever been in handcuffs?
But it was just, I did get
if
convicted
cops
of a
ever put
misdemeanor.
handcuffs
You didn't go to jail though.
Who?
No, I was lucky
That
enough that I
doesn't
just,
count.
I
It doesn't
paid a
count then.
fine.
Doesn't
Yeah,
count
no jail for me. I'm not in that group.
Yeah,
So
I was in a
that's
I
not.
handcuff
I
once,
say
but
nothing
she
about
finally
jail.
let me out.
I don't talk about jail. Like, I don't have that experience to like go
Yeah.
by, but I know
I never
for a
have
lot
been
of
in jail
people
either.
been in jail.
What's the
But
title of the stream?
yeah, no, I know. Not me.
What?
The title of the
Was the
stream.
title
What is
cop?
it?
Was cop stories? Was
Cop
cop stories?
stories.
Cop stories.
Hey,
What do you
Busker.
want to know?
And I'm sure Busker has some.
I
cop
could tell you
stories.
cop stories. So what they do is they get dressed in uniforms, and then they get in little cars, and then they drive around and shit.
Tell us
Some people walk
a
around.
personal cop story. We know what cops do.
Oh god, let me see. Let me
Oh,
see if I can think of a funny.
Sound
one.
like clowns.
I actually have to go in a minute. But Leah, if you come back tomorrow, we'll talk about cartoons. Like I have some. We can talk cartoons real good. You seem like you have a. You and FlowState both talking about cartoons up there got my brain going about that. So,
I'll give
but
you
I've got to
guys a
go in a
good
minute.
one.
But you guys keep it going. I have to go run and do some errands. So I gotta get some errands done. Unfortunately I have adult responsibilities, even though I would much rather be doing this. But I have to go do. I have to go do things that are responsible.
All right, we'll
and
see you
bullshit
tomorrow.
like that.
Take care.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Anyway, hey Jeff,
I'll
how's
give
it
you guys
going?
a good one. Somewhere like within a few hours of me, there's a place called Helltown. Have you guys ever heard of it?
Helltown? No.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a town that was built in like this fucking, I don't know, 50s or 60s, and then there was all this like government movement like around this particular land for some reason, and they ended up forcing the people out like of this town. So there's an entire town that's like old as shit, kind of, and it's supposed to be haunted and all this. Like they had like a church, and like there's like videos online. If you look up Helltown,
is it Helltown, Ohio?
Yeah. So anyway, there's no like record of this like happening basically. So like I don't care, but me and like a bunch of buddies, we heard about it. It was like 10 of us, man. People weren't even like sitting in their seats. They were like laying across people's like laps and stuff to like drive to this cul-de-sac, which had a sign that said like don't park, private parking. But we were like, we're 18, we're 16, we know everything, you know. So we just parked there. We went looking for this Helltown. Well, a little while later, we decided, like, it was so dark and like we didn't really like, we weren't able to like read the map or something, and we decided to turn back. And as we turned back, we came up this hill, and there was a bunch of like cop lights like going off the trees in the dark.
Oh.
And then yeah, anyway, like a group of us, like 10 of us, got like stopped. This guy, there was a cop in like a he had like a rainbow colored shirt with like huh?
The cop did?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he had guns pointed at us.
On?
Huh?
The cop had a rainbow shirt
Dude,
on?
he must have been like a detective or something, and then he just popped his bulletproof vest on and was just like like holding this Glock down on us. And it was like yeah, like I remember he told me 3 strikes because I kept lying to him. That's when I learned you're like not really supposed to lie like that. But he was like, what are you guys doing here? I'm like, oh, we're looking for places to ride 4-wheelers. He's like, shut up, dude. Strike one. And then like, yeah, you know, it like went on, and he's like, yeah, they just ended up calling our parents and shit. But like, what, I mean, like, cop stories. I mean, what do you want? I mean,
Why were you there?
I could give you the breakdown of the levels of what they do, huh?
Why were you there again?
Being 16 years old, 17 years old, retarded, and with a map to this haunted fucking town that we're not supposed to go to. That's why.
Yeah, we just
just urban exploring,
breaking into haunted buildings.
Yeah, no, we weren't going to break in. As far as that, you know,
that used to be legal. You know.
No, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have ever thought that or looked that up. If breaking in is legal, is that what you're talking about?
No, not breaking in. Urban exploring. Like just being in a place for no reason because you just wanted to check it out.
We used to get we used to get locked in, like explore abandoned dormitories on campus. We'd get locked in the library at night, and we'd explore the sewer tunnels under the city, all that stuff. I don't know if any of it was legal, but we did it. This is
that sounds like technically it might have been trespassing.
Yeah, Denizen,
then again,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're
just saying, you just contradicted your own argument from like a second ago. Saying it shit like it used to be legal.
Like, urban exploring.
Yeah, everything used to be legal, dude.
I mean, the charge would be trespassing at most. If we were in an abandoned building, we got caught, and they wanted to charge us with something, it would be trespassing.
And then I elaborated, like just being in a place for no reason, just because you wanted to check it out, you know.
Yeah.
Cops wouldn't even approach you for that.
Yeah, they never do it. Like most of them left us alone. They had an old man lived in one of them, and I didn't realize he lived in the back, and he had these dogs, and he came out with the two dogs on like a rope, and he like sniffing around trying to find the people that were trespassing. We hid in a ditch until they left, but he wasn't a cop.
Gen X Jeff, you've never been arrested, then you said?
No, I don't know how.
Okay, has anybody here ever had guns pointed at them?
I was arrested. I'm 44 now, and I was arrested after playing a gig down in Baltimore City. I was outside, and everybody was just drinking 40s. We're all underage and stuff. And, you know, like the cops came and they busted the wrong street. They were trying to look for drug dealers on the street that I was on, and they just happened to come by us drinking 40s. So, like, they didn't really bust anybody for that. That's the weird thing. But I was belligerent, and I'm like, they were all dressed as civilians. They're undercover. But one guy had a mullet, and he was a real asshole, and I could smell booze on his breath. And the only reason I knew is because he pinned me up against the wall, asked for his badge, and a young, little tiny woman had a sweatshirt on, pulled up her sweatshirt. She said, "You want to see my badge? You want to see my gun?" And then, then this cop pushed me up against the wall, had my throat up against the wall with his arm, and was like, and I didn't do anything. I'm like, "Look, I just asked to see a badge. What are you doing?" And I got thrown in central booking in Baltimore City. That is the hell.
What was the charge? Y'all were just hanging out drinking beer?
Yeah, well, like it was. They charged me with disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, which was not any of it. And resisting arrest. That's right. And I wasn't.
Yeah, they always charge you with resisting arrest. That just goes on there.
Exactly. And like I got PBJ, probation before judgment, but at the same time, after all that bullshit, I had to mow a fucking huge lawn at a police station for I don't know how many days.
Is that community service? Is that what that's considered?
Well, it's not community service if you're a criminal, I guess. I mean, sorry, I gotta get.
They're calling you.
So what's the point? Gather stories of people being like, what would this be moving towards? You know, like
it's an entertainment channel. It's
just a topic starter,
just to entertain people.
Sorry about that. It was my mom. Anyway, yeah. So they threw me in the hellhole of America. I gotta say, well, of Baltimore anyway. And dude, when I got there, they put me I didn't go to the upstairs because I wasn't like I could get released because I wasn't like a murderer or a robber or didn't do anything.
Oh, that's where they kept the.
Yeah, that's where they
violent-
kept the
violent
small
offenders.
time, and then like I was there for 18 hours in this little concrete cell with a sliding door that had just a little window, and freaking as soon as I walked in there, and I swear to God, the first thing I saw on the floor was an open tube of KY jelly, and there was shit all over the floor too. I mean, it stunk so bad in this place. I can't believe they don't shut that place down. And that was back when I
Do
was.
you think that there was anything you could have done to change the outcome?
Well,
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have talked to them at all. I mean, I was just trying to maybe show off to my friends by asking for the badge, but that's like
You have you have the right to ask for a badge, right?
exactly. And apparently I didn't to them.
Exercising your rights is not a good idea
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
interacting with the police.
that's right.
And in a vast majority of situations, you could probably avoid any negative experience with the police whatsoever, no matter how bad they are. Just simply don't challenge them in any way at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like
more or less. Although I have before.
I was kind of stupid, but I just played a gig. I had fun. I was getting kind of drunk, and I was being stupid because I had alcohol in my blood. Yeah.
Did other people get arrested with you? Like you weren't the only one.
No, it's weird. I was the only person, and they were like hassling everyone, man. Like,
So you were the one they made the example of.
yes, yeah, exactly. I was the example, and I could hear the other band inside talking about it. I could in the paddy wagon. I could hear him saying, "Somebody just got arrested outside. Fuck the police." But like it's like a punk gig, so like they don't care for the police too much. You know,
Flo knows all the terminology.
Yeah, I like his Jeff impressions though. He's such a masochist, dude. You like this shit. You know what I'm saying?
What could he have done differently, or what did he contribute to the situation? Like like everyone has agency, so everyone has some control over what happens.
You just have to seem like it's perfectly natural for another man to have complete and total authority over you. That's it. And if you're not someone who believes that inherently, you have to be good enough of an actor to pull it off. Because they'll smell it on you. You know, even if you're yes sir, no sir, and you do everything, if you don't do it exactly like how a regular cuck would do it, they smell that shit on you and they go fishing.
Because that's not true. Autistic people get stopped all the time because we're weird and we like show up on their radar as suspicious and stuff.
Autistic people get tased and shot all the time too.
Yeah, I know. Like so,
that's what I'm saying, dog.
Yeah, but they like it.
But if we don't do it exactly like they want, it doesn't mean something will happen to us. Especially as cops are becoming more and more aware.
I am pleased that has worked out well for you so far.
Autism.
How many people have you seen tased in real life?
What does in real life mean? Every time I've ever seen anybody tased by a cop, it was in real life.
No, with your own eyes.
Never seen body cam videos?
In person. No, not body cam. I'm talking about with your own eyes.
That's what I was asking. He said he's never seen it other than real life. You've never watched a single body cam video? Okay.
I've never been tased personally that I can recall, but I've seen someone tased lots of times. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
My friends bought a taser and tased each other for fun. That was a Saturday night.
Were they Jackass fans or some shit?
Oh yeah, that's stupid.
Maybe. Why are you so judgy?
Shit. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like adjacent to that, I guess.
Don't tase me, bro.
Well, you can tase me.
Bro, don't tase me. Next to my testicles, yeah.
You know what the weird thing is, though? When I was arrested, I was not charged with drunken disorderly, just disorderly conduct.
Did they do a blood alcohol on you?
No, they didn't. That was the weirdest fucking thing, man. Oh God! And that central booking was so crowded. They wanted me to pull my pants down and squat in the sliding doors to the building. It's like, dude, don't you do that? Yeah, they wanted.
Wait, what?
They wanted to make sure I didn't have my butthole So they
Yeah,
made
I'm
me
missing
squat down,
something.
and like I had to pull my pants down and everything. It's just like, dude, I bet there's a lot of old
That's
folks that
really dehumanizing.
love teenage ass. I'm sure they're loving
I'm
this.
trying to figure out if I should end the stream. If I need to end the stream or not. Hello?
Why?
Any advice?
Why?
Sorry, I hope I didn't
Well,
do it.
if you end up ending the stream, I may possibly attempt to try to get on StreamYard and get something going because I've got a StreamYard account, but I'm still like trying to figure it out, and I'm on my phone right now.
You want to? We could like help you learn stream, like do a practice stream and help you learn StreamYard. I could put your channel.
I just need to figure out
Go
how
back
to link
and watch
in
it.
the
I don't
chat
know
if
if I need to
open up
clip
the
it out or
channel.
not. He told a very graphic story.
I don't think it was that bad. He didn't say anything about obscene act.
We got the picture painted though.
Don't it make your brown eye blue?
It's fun. Like it's
Leah,
just
you
kind
wanna
of
try to
another
do one?
Tuesday
Yeah.
when some cops sexually assault a man, you know?
What is it, Chuck?
You? What? Okay, this just gets weirder and weirder with the cop stories. Do you want to talk about it? And is YouTube going to let you talk about it?
Who are you talking to?
You, what you just said.
Oh, I'm telling my story about what they made me do. They just basically I don't know why they made me pull.
Oh, the part you just told, that part.
To dehumanize you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like it was
And
right.
some of them get off on that shit too.
They made me do that, and like they wanted to see what was I guess up my butt, but I didn't have anything.
Like cavity search type.
They didn't do that, but they made me squat down. I don't know if that was standard practice for people. I don't know. I mean,
Well, if you got something in the crack, if you
Depends.
squat, it's going to fall out.
yeah,
I think
exactly. It's probably
my
it.
instinct is telling me to the stream.
How did the conversation get to this without me
Well,
here?
did you
I
have
don't
it age
know. That's why.
restricted?
That's why
Jeff,
I'm
Cop
wondering if
stories,
this
man, they
wrap up.
turn bad real fast.
Yeah.
Jeff, did you have it set for 18 plus or set for the age
No, it's
restriction?
definitely
Because if you
people.
didn't-
No, it's
yeah, well,
not for kids.
I think it should be okay. I mean, you know, it's
Okay.
just it's a
Yeah.
bit of that graphic description, but nobody's being harmed. I don't think there's any violation of TOS.
It's not that graphic, for Christ's sake. They just made
Yes,
me pull my pants down
I've
and
heard
squat.
way worse.
It's not like they did anything to me and I didn't shit there. Whatever, you know.
All right. Well, we can go on to some other story, or part of the story.
Anyway, yeah. So PBJ, and then
So anyway, kids cartoons.
That's
Denizen,
when
did
he
you
realized he
start
never
working?
should have asked for that
You're
badge.
anti-cop, right?
yeah, asking for a badge apparently is not a good thing to do.
I just
I'm
realized
anti
that
the
was
police we
back,
have,
Caleb.
yes.
Because of bad experiences.
No. My bad experiences reinforce my beliefs.
Yeah, there you go.
It's possible to not like our current iteration of cops, despite not having particularly
My-
bad.
Yeah,
my personal experiences put a nice little, whipped cream on the top, I will say.
because of our negative bias.
Really drives it home.
Yeah.
Any doubt that I
Y'all
would have
gonna,
had
like,
about the
you're gonna
subjective
preach the
experience of
same
other
message for
people,
all these other
once you go
marginalized
through it
groups
yourself,
you
like
have.
back to blue until it happens to you, as they say, right? You know, I always knew they were pigs, and I always managed to not get in trouble. And I watched what they do to other people and hate them. And then a few rare circumstances, I had my interactions, and boy, did it solidify it.
I mean, my issue more has to do with like the training and then the treatment of cops who do break the law, because oftentimes when police like break the law, they just kind of get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
When if they were a civilian who broke the law in the same way, they would.
I've seen accountability happen. Seattle was under an entire federal order because of an investigation they did into their policing practices, and they had all of these things they were supposed to change by a certain deadline from the federal government.
Yeah.
I'm convinced they do things like that for people like Jeff.
If your chief of police, like, you know, it is like buddy with you or something like that, like they might not push things through, but I mean, like, with everything being, like, you know, recorded left and right, I mean, and everything being out there on the internet, like, they don't really have much of a choice but to try to take, you know, more accountability in things. Like 20 years ago, it might have been different, but I mean, you will see that sometimes, but probably just not often enough. I think it depends on just, like, if the case is blown wide open in public, the public will demand that accountability, and then the department will take action. But yeah, I think maybe it just doesn't happen often enough. And with what Lib said about the training, I've always kind of been of the opinion that I don't think officers have a long enough training where they are actually, like, learning, like, the interpersonal skills that you're going to need to interact with people and de-escalate situations.
Sometimes you can't teach that. It's just
our military.
I mean,
if you can't teach it, then that person doesn't need to be a cop.
Let me get this thought out first. Let me explain myself here, what I mean by this, okay? Because I don't really feel like it's fair if you don't hear me out. We expect a lot of professionals in a lot of fields to have sometimes no less than, like, 4 years of a college education or / training or a degree or some kind of, like, certification. Okay, we put a lot of demands on people in the justice system, lawyers and social workers and everybody else. But what kind of training do we give police? Next to none. We send them away for like 6 to 2. Yes.
And the training is shit too.
And we give them a gun and we send them out into the world and we say, okay, now police the public. And I think just longer training programs where there are more things with, like, learning interpersonal skills and de-escalation and more, like, you know, even maybe just learning, like, Psych 101 and things like that, learning actually how to deal with people, because they do have to deal with the worst of society on a daily basis, and they are going out into doing their job with a public that already hates them on principle because they're wearing a badge. So that actually honestly probably could help in the long run if they just spend more time training. I mean, we have no problem with making this demand of other professionals. We make so many demands of even just nursing assistants, and they're not even actually
hiring.
They
hiring
do have
is the initial part of the process too.
Education each year.
Culture, institutionalism, hiring.
You know, it boils down to it's systemic, and they're not.
Yep.
They're not putting the money towards it. They're not putting tax dollars towards it, but yet they'll put it towards a bunch of other shit. But they don't care about that because they don't have the means. They don't have the
kind of training do cops get? Cops get trained that citizens are trying to kill them.
Yeah.
So why would we think that more of that adversarial training will do anything except for make the problem worse?
Here's how you can circumvent a person's rights without running astray of case law. Here's what you say. Here's the script.
Yeah. There's very first thing. I actually talked to a woman who worked in the police
That's
lab.
what interpersonal skills are.
They don't learn those. In fact, they learn the opposite of those. They learn you're always in danger. When you approach a vehicle, you're in danger. The first day on the job, I actually talked to a woman who worked in a police lab. She said the first day of training, what they learned is to separate witnesses and tell both of them the other one snitched. Like, they're learning how to lie and shoot.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with prison.
Yeah, I have a whole problem with their whole training
love
program.
your servitude, Jeff. We know that.
Okay, so I'm going on record, just like you.
Like, it depends what you want from your police and what you want in society. You know, if you don't have a problem with a culture of deceit and brutality, welcome to America. You're in the. No wonder you're always piping it up. It is the perfect place for your personality type.
It's a narrative. I don't have the same narrative about it.
Hey Jeff, so I did this. I had used your methods. I asked the AI, why do police academies?
That's your first mistake.
Want military veterans, and it gave
ChatGPT is your lawyer.
6 reasons. Training and discipline. They understand the importance of following orders, adhering to protocols, and maintaining composure in high-pressure situations. Ability to work under pressure. They're often better equipped to handle stressful and dangerous situations calmly and effectively. This is a very common thing.
Wait, what did you ask? What was the question you asked?
Why do U.S. Police academies prefer military veterans?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense so far.
Yeah,
because has never been arrested.
yeah, this is true. However, it is true that like the U.S. military does receive, at least now, people within the military receive way more de-escalation training than cops go through.
I'm pro-veteran. I don't mind if veterans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point is that military veterans get more they get more de-escalation training than police, despite the fact that like the military trains people to kill people, and the cops are like supposed to be a domestic peacekeeping force.
So if they had more de-escalation training, would that make all of you feel warm and fuzzy about them?
No, I think it would be a placebo. It would be a placebo cure. The issue is that they are hired to enforce laws that are immoral. So therefore you get immoral. So therefore you get only
Nobody wanted to hear the second half of that sentence.
Because everybody's lazy and nobody actually wants to take the work to change the laws.
Okay, Leah, you go change a law. You go change a law you think is immoral. I'll see you in 30 years.
I'm fine with the laws. If I wanted to change something, I would.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. For people who are fine with the way everything is, there aren't any problems with the way anything is.
You're fine with all the laws. You're fine with paying tags every year. You're fine with people being in jail for pot.
Paying tags every year.
There's not a
burden.
You're fine with all that shit. You and Jeff are Satanists.
Yeah, paying tags.
I'm fine with the current laws in my state. If that changes, I may change my mind, but I'm fine with the current thing that I have going on, and that's my my life is fine with the current laws where I live.
I mean, I think
but
things
I'm
can
also a law-abiding citizen.
My life is fine
I'm not
too.
trying to go out of my way to break laws. And
no, I go out of my way not to break laws so that I never have to interface with the system.
So
has anybody here ever?
What does that have to do with how shitty the laws are?
Well, you don't vote for laws. You vote for politicians who then, which is, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, the way our system is set up is not ideal in any way, shape, or form. But like, I think like
we know Satan.
I don't expect ideal.
That is not Satan. Like Satan,
I'm a pragmatist.
Well, Satan is anti-authoritarian.
When I was in Germany,
he is doing it wrong.
Well, then if that's not Satan, then I'm more satanic than Jeff by a huge margin.
Hell yeah! Just in the little bit I've seen you on this panel and talked to you a little bit. Yes, you are way more of a Satanist than Jeff.
You guys do remember that there is a difference between the Church of Satanism and the satanic cults,
will
right?
become a centrist and Flo will become a Satanist.
When I was in,
you guys know that the atheist Church of Satan is not the same thing as like Charles Manson, right?
I'm very unconvinced that Lib is a communist or a trans.
No, I think he's.
I don't think Charles Manson was a Satanist, though.
I mean, you can think
you
that.
got pulled over.
Yeah, it wasn't meant insultingly. I just those are my opinions.
I am a communist.
When I was in Germany and you got pulled over for suspected drunk driving, they would ask you one time to give a blood sample. If you refused, they had a right for BAC, yeah. If you refused, they had the authority to pull out a slapjack and obtain blood by any means possible.
Your papers, please, sir.
Well, Germany back in the 1940s or 30s, whenever you were over there, it was probably a pretty rough place, I would assume.
70s and 80s. 70s and 80s.
I will have your blood now.
I mean, actually, Germany.
So 70s, before the wall fell, in other words.
Yeah, actually, before the wall fell.
In literal Nazi Germany, it was worse than it is in America.
West Germany was actually quite.
I agree.
Authoritarian. Before the wall fell, after the reunification of Berlin, the German democracy kind of did sort of become actually more free. But like before the wall fell, Germany was actually
I
quite
was
authoritarian.
It was
I was
communist,
there
wasn't
before and after.
No.
Yeah.
They were a democracy, but the Berlin Wall was like the other half of Berlin was run by the USSR. But even the
Right, that's what I'm saying. East Berlin wasn't it?
no, but
communist in Germany?
yeah, but even
Yeah, it was
even West Ber-
communist.
even
That's
West
what
Berlin.
you're. Is,
So
is
that's
that,
your
is that
so
what
that's
you're like?
your
We got rid
comparison
of
for
that.
how
Is that what
US
you want
is
back?
good.
Do you want
Yeah.
East Berlin back and the
And
wall?
No.
It's not
Yeah.
even. There's barely any bureaucratic process between the what he described and what happens in the United States. In some states, you're required by law to give a blood sample. The only difference is they have to drive you to the hospital to force you to give it first.
Jeff.
So Chuck's standard of what's bad is Stalin.
No.
No.
Chuck interacted with West Germany probably because he was a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
No, he was in East Germany under Stalin.
I made the mistake one time and did cross the wrong border into USSR Czechoslovakia.
Oh, that's where my ancestors, that's where my peoples are from.
What happened?
They as soon as the local police or military, whichever it was, seen the plates on the vehicle, we were apprehended and detained, taken to a building, and then we had to get personally picked up by the colonel from the base.
Did they fuck you?
No.
In what way? Hold on.
Jeff is like, damn it.
You misunderstood. What I was saying is West Germany, before the wall fell, was actually quite authoritarian. In large part due to the fact that, like, at the time,
You said it was communist too.
No. East Berlin was run by the USSR. West Berlin was technically it was run by Germany.
Was
but
that
like,
not communist?
No.
East
West
Germany was a separate chunk of the country, not just Berlin.
Yes, it was the eastern chunk of Germany plus Berlin. It was not the entire east.
I associate that with communism for some reason.
Wait.
And I'm trying to make sure when you
Why?
call yourself a commie, that's not the type of commie you're.
That's not the type of commie. That's why I'm.
Like why you would want
But
to
that's
associate
the
yourself
only
with
type of
that at
commie,
all.
really.
That is the only type. In reality,
this is
because
I
I remember
thought, like,
when the wall
Marxism
fell,
was
and
like
we
a
were
whole
all
completely
like the
separate,
whole world
different
was
like
celebrating
ideology.
as a good thing.
Oh, absolutely
it
not.
sounds
Marxism
exactly
is
like the United
communism.
States.
The difference is intellectual.
Yep. That's pretty much the same thing.
No, and practical. Because
Sounds like the United States, but with extra steps.
the USSR did not the political parties within the USSR did not practice Marxism. They practiced Marxism-Leninism, which is definitionally different than Marxism. Like in every way.
So
shape,
at what
or
point is your distinction not intellectual?
What do you mean by intellectual?
I mean, in practicality, communism is Marxism. Everywhere they've implemented communism, it is fight me, lib.
So first off, communism was around before Marx. So like, not all communism is Marxism. First off. Second off, yes, Marxism has influenced many socialist movements throughout the world. However, not all of those were Marxist-Leninism. It's fine, I don't care. Marxist-Leninism is functionally different from Marxism. Like
I don't like any of it. I don't. The difference
it doesn't work everywhere.
You would love it. You would love it. You're a better socialist than Lib is.
No, Jeff would not like Marxist-Leninism. Marxist-Leninism is incredibly authoritarian because
that's what Jeff is.
Yeah. He's pretty authoritarian, man.
I mean,
I think he even thinks the brutality part is kind of like it's either necessary or it's like when you put cinnamon in your eggnog, it's like extra but better.
It's just a little flavor.
Jeff
yeah,
is
it's like
okay. That's his issue. Is he's a lib? Okay.
He might think it's kinky.
I don't think
that's a different type of authority.
I wouldn't argue with you because I don't know what a liberal is, but he is an authoritarian, so I would still say even if he's a liberal.
The fact of the matter is that Gen X Jeff and Cynthia are both authoritarians.
Oh, like I said, if I'm an authoritarian, this is the worst authoritarian you've ever encountered. I have to live with.
Yeah,
Like,
I
boy.
Please don't let me be your
If Jeff is
standard
authoritarian, I
You're
mean, like,
setting
point out
yourself
where
up
it's a bad thing.
for a lifetime
Well,
of
Leah,
disappointment. When
I
you
just don't know
encounter
you well enough
actual
to make that claim
authoritarian.
about you yet, but I'm pretty sure that you're right in there with him with the whole "I love all my laws" thing.
Yeah, I was not expecting a
It's
human
not-
being to
it's
say that out
not a
loud.
You want to
thing.
define me? I don't take offense to it. I don't care about labels anyway. I'm me, so it's
I mean,
fine.
yeah.
It's
Like-
not about loving the law.
Once I hit you with a
Everybody
label,
just wants
you
to
can't just
slap
shrug it
labels
off
on
like
and,
that.
like,
It's a permanent
you know,
part of that
put
whole
camps.
identity.
Permanent.
We got to put everybody in separate camps. Are you a communist? Are you authoritarian? Or are you a free? I don't care. Miss me with
Leah's like,
that.
I'm a butterfly. I'm like, get in the
We're already
authoritarian
on the
box.
No, I'm not a butterfly. I'm a delicate flower. Get it right.
We're already in the camp. I'm
I-
just the one who doesn't like it. You know.
I'm an Iranian agent. Okay,
And now you're on a list.
I was already on a list. What?
I'm
you
not.
think-
I'm not talking about the app you guys have to use to map out your polycule. I'm talking about a government list.
No, I was definitely also
It's a
already on a government list.
constellation.
I ordered the book How to Build a Pipe Bomb. Okay, I'm on
Is
a
that
list.
a book?
It is a book.
You're gonna get.
Why? What? You don't have to say on stream. but
Sorry, it's not.
tell us,
It's not
what
how
were
to
you-
build a pipe. It's not how to build a pipe bomb. It's sorry. I
The
completely
anarchist.
botched it.
Look at Jeff's face.
No. It is actually not that. It's how to blow up an oil pipeline. Sorry, my apologies.
Oh my God, Jeff! What are we gonna do with these guys?
Why
You
would
mean that
invest
Biden's
a
book?
dollar in ordering a book like what?
Because-
what was
In
the
because-
draw?
Minecraft, everybody.
the book-
in Minecraft.
The book is not about how to blow up an oil pipeline, but
Will
rather
you just stop
why
with the
you should
phrase,
blow up an
though?
oil pipeline.
Lib.
Why do they call it how?
Lib.
and not-
It's
why
to
does the
stop
author title it
Putin
how?
from invading the
No, it's-
Ukraine, man. That's why you blow up a
It's a-
pipeline. Everybody knows that.
It's like
Can
a,
we-
it's
Can
like
we all
a,
have some order here
controversial
and
title.
chill on repeating that phrase over and over and over again?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get
That's
the
fine.
AI attention.
That's fine. It's a
Right?
it's a book about like climate change and stuff, and
Oh my
they were
God.
going for like a
Which is all obviously a scam.
controversial
Yeah.
title in order to like
I
you
think
know.
climate changes.
Yeah,
Um,
naturally over time it always has.
I'm aware that
Always
there is
will.
a significant amount of climate change denial in this space. So
Oh yeah, carbon.
I'm not a
I'm not living in climate
Even
change
if it's
denial.
changing, I don't think it's.
I believe the
See,
climate
Leah,
changes.
the more you talk, the further into that box you shove yourself.
Like,
I
go
like
talk to China and
boxes.
India. That's who you need to be talking to.
I hope you do, because you're getting deep into one, and I don't mean that sexually.
I'm a cat in human form, and I need my cubby hole to hide in. Okay.
ooh yeah, love
Oh
boxes.
shit! She wants
So-
a litter box.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Chuck. Yes.
Exactly like that fake news story.
Look,
Pinch
you
a
don't
loaf
have to
of
be a
litter
cat to
box.
poop in gravel.
No, and you don't have to be a cat to eat cat food either.
Every playground has
saying.
sand below it.
Ugh, dude.
It just doesn't taste that good if you're not a cat.
If you poop underneath the
I grew
slide,
up
you
on
have
the
some
beach.
privacy as
I'll
well.
just say that.
Dude, cats have stomachs for cat food. Humans do not.
Well, I mean, also like it's
Actually,
complicated.
cats really, in essence, they don't, because all animals, all pets get sick from the food that they're eating. They all
Yeah, there's a
become
lot of
diabetic.
there's a lot of dyes and chemicals and stuff like that in
Yeah,
most
and they
manufactured cat
become
foods.
diabetic, and they get kidney problems, this, that, and the other, and
Sometimes I open a can of tuna and stand at the sink and eat it out with a fork just so I can hear the cats freaking out on the ground.
My cats hate tuna.
All right, Jeff, I'm a better Satanist than you.
I had cats that loved it and that some that hate it, but like it's really not gonna be best for them. They need to eat the real fish. They don't need to eat just the meat. They have to have the nutrients from the blood.
I've had cats live out their entire lifespan of cat food.
Yeah, so has
but
vegan
back
gains
to-
with his vegan cat food.
Back to the thing before, Jeff. Why do you think that West
The
Germany
thing before Jeff? Who is that?
Why do you-
Who
why
is
do
the thing before Jeff?
Go ahead, Liz.
The thing before
Me.
Jeff. Why do you think that West Germany was communist, even though it was run by the
East,
Allies?
East,
Okay,
Berlin,
yeah.
the East
Yeah.
Berlin and the East.
I was talking about
Germany.
West Germany.
The
West
part
Germany
that was walled off. I was talking about the person. I wasn't asking why you would want to be associated with West Germany. It's East Germany. I was trying.
I don't want to be
make sure
associated
you
with
weren't
either.
tied to.
I don't want to be associated with either of them because honestly, the West.
Well, then
Western
why the communist? Like branding yourself as a communist is not the best way to not be associated.
What's the difference between communism and capitalism?
The state owns the means of production.
Well,
Capitalism,
first off,
the
I mean,
individuals.
Is that what we're talking about, Lib? You're talking about state-owned means of production?
Were we talking? You're talking about the fall of the Berlin Wall. Was that during World War II?
No, that was in the
no, the 80s, Reagan.
80s.
Oh, the 80s. Okay, all right. Why? I'm not as big into that.
November 9th,
1989.
1989. It was
1989. Yeah.
Bush.
Yeah.
Bush.
Yeah.
No, started under Reagan.
Well, it started under Reagan, but it happened under Bush.
Same as the Persian Gulf War.
Yeah. As to the difference between communism and capitalism, so neither of those systems, in their definitions, require states. And communism's definition fundamentally is without a state. Capitalism can have or doesn't have, can take or leave states. Like capitalism, the definition of it doesn't say anything about states, but communism is definitionally a society that is stateless, classless, and doesn't have a profit incentive is the idea
and
behind
imaginary.
So the USSR at no point, or Russia was at no point communist.
Yeah, at no point were they a communist society. And actually, the State Department of the USSR actually didn't refer to the USSR as communist. They referred to it as socialist because like they had a state. So the people who were in charge understood that they couldn't, like, I mean, colloquially we call them communists, but their state was.
Isn't communism derived from commune, and it's basically it's a living practice.
Basically, yeah. In the same way that like the modern People's Republic of China doesn't call themselves communist. They call their state. They have what they call state capitalism. Which that's where the state owns the means of production. Denizen. That's, if you're asking for that, the People's Republic of China is state capitalist. But the USSR.
So how?
Yeah, was not a communist.
Wouldn't there be a difference between state-owned means of production and public-owned means of production?
I mean, it just depends on like the system. In China, I'm actually not sure if there's a difference. There probably is. There's probably like distinctions, but I'm not fully aware of. China is not like my area of expertise. I know enough about China to know that I don't.
Are you down with CCP?
No, I'm not down with CCP. The CCP
are they
is
communist.
What
kind of communist are like? Why? Because you're such a individual form of communism. Would you be better served by branding yourself as something else? It's not like a traditional communism.
If there's nobody else who has your brand of communism, what kind of community do you think that you're advocating for?
Well, first off, there are other people who do share my
outside of your polycule.
Yes, outside of my polycule, there are other people who share my definition of communism, who share my ideals about anarchism.
But it doesn't.
I'm not entirely convinced.
I mean, you can be entirely unconvinced.
I think so far, I generally agree with what he's saying.
I know, it's weird. I'm totally not a communist, and I actually agree with more of Lib's shit than I disagree with.
Well, I think it's because I will oftentimes very flippantly call
that might mean that you're a communist.
I think like when you're raised in America, the word communist doesn't mean anything except when people have to help each other. And things we're forced to do that we don't like is all communism, and it doesn't actually mean anything.
Built on the idea of shared wealth.
That's not a thing.
Evenly distributed wealth.
I stand against shared wealth.
Well, then that's capitalist, and that's kind
of me.
It's in a different thread than socialism.
My shit is my shit. I ain't sharing it with none of you.
You're not entitled to the fruits of another man.
Well, you have wealth, though?
I mean, some of you could be entitled to my fruits, but not the fruits of my labor.
Hey.
I'll pass. I'm good.
You were the only one that would have possibly applied to, Leah. So I guess nobody's entitled to him then.
Aw.
Sorry, Lib. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, the rest of you gays.
Badge. But my
Did you call me Fash?
No, I said Sag, as in SADJ.
Oh, like Sagittarius?
Sag?
No, Sag. It's an
Vag?
internet. No, Sag. SADJ.
Vag?
SADJ? Sag?
Yeah. It's like the new version of like Leet Speak.
New
I
version
don't
of
even
what?
know what that means. We're all boomers.
Oh
or
my God.
something here.
Wait, it's the new version of what? I don't even think I know the old version.
You not know
I know, me neither.
As in, what is it? L33. I think it's and then just T.
Leet?
Yeah. Leet.
Oh, I know Leet. So
Like yeet?
what is
Like
it?
when you eat
Sag?
something?
What does it mean?
It just means sad. It literally just means sad.
Leet?
Why
Then why don't
why
you
did
say
your
Sag?
generation
Version
take
of
something
Leet.
so
That's
simple
not-
and make it so fucking weird?
It's internet culture, dude. Like
yeah,
Leet
Frank,
Speak
I am
comes
ready
from
for
like
Big Brother
gaming
now.
and like meme culture. It's
it's
in a different way different thread.
yeah, like
I remember when SJW stood for single Jewish woman.
I don't. Of course, I wasn't reading Backpage back then.
Yeah.
I got it off the stone tablet.
I
But
think that makes you our honorary Methuselah.
he is.
It's
I'm pretty sure
true.
he's one of the oldest people who like will come on here regularly.
And his hair is snakes. Oh, that's
He-
Medusa.
yeah. Chuck's the one who gets he gets the early bird special.
Yeah.
That's a different snake, Flo.
He's that dude drinking coffee at McDonald's at 6 a.m. getting a refill
I
on
love
his,
those
on
guys.
his
When I worked at
military
McDonald's, they were
veteran
my
on his veteran.
they were my
discount.
favorite customers.
Oh, they
they
are.
were
Can
so
I have
awesome.
a refill? I'm a veteran. They're like, all right, 35 cents.
That's what my boss when I was back in Memphis, he would get up in the morning, like early in the morning, and he'd go to Chick-fil-A and he'd sit down there and he'd with his little computer and he'd get started working and he'd just sit there for like 4 hours just drinking his lemonade and nibbling on his chicken sandwich.
Is Chick-fil-A open early?
Yeah, they're
I
actually open
didn't
at
think they were.
6 a.m.
Do they have breakfast chicken or is
Yeah, they have
normal
breakfast chicken.
They have a breakfast menu.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I just
Breakfast
like the
chicken. Not on
phrase
Sunday.
breakfast chicken.
Their breakfast chicken's actually really good. I like their whatever biscuit like
What's
stuff they use.
different
Is
about
really
it?
good. I have no idea.
That's actually kind of un-American. I don't think you're supposed to
Go
put
into a
chicken.
restaurant.
I
supposed
would
Go.
I
Look,
would wager
eggs
that what's
before-
different
the
about it is
chicken
it's a lot
comes- or
more
the eggs
fresh than
come
the
before
lunch
the
menu.
chicken.
By the time the
Yeah,
lunch
that's
menu
why
comes
we eat
around,
eggs
they've
in the
already been
morning.
cooking shit up in
Oh,
preparation.
yeah, also their hash browns are really good too.
Hash brown. I've never met a bad hash brown.
That's true.
Oh,
Even
wow.
McDonald's has good hash browns.
You can fuck
That's
up a hash
debatable.
brown. They're
I-
The only way
delicious,
you
but
can
you can
fuck up
fuck
a
them up.
hash brown is to not cook it long enough. Like you could have raw
Yeah.
potatoes. That would be a problem, but that's about
Or
it.
or not change the oil soon enough.
But
Yep.
you can't really burn hash browns, right? Like even the most
Yeah, not
burnt
really.
ass hash browns are still pretty fucking good.
Honestly, I'm the same way with eggs. Like
I
I
can burn anything.
love overcooked scrambled eggs. Oh my god.
Jesus.
I do
Nice.
too.
When they just
I
have that,
don't
like,
like
little-
no. I don't want any slimy. I want them
Yeah.
drier than fuck.
Mhm. Yep. I want them dry as fuck. I want a shit ton of salt, a shit ton of pepper, and then I want them to be like, not like drippy or anything. I don't want it. I don't want it wet.
No.
I need it dry, and I need that little bit of crunch.
I don't want it wet. I need it dry.
Griffey.
That's the problem with
Yeah.
like all those
Griffey.
continental
Don't
breakfasts
have
at
to
the
remember.
hotels and shit.
Oh,
Is their
God.
scrambled
I'm just gonna
eggs
clip
are
out. I
always-
need it dry.
It's always runny ass scrambled eggs. It's fucked up.
That's water.
But
Most
the
of the
only thing that scrambled eggs need, I could get behind a little salt and a little pepper, but they need Cholula hot sauce.
He wishes, but he's fascinated.
Yeah, Frank is.
We finally found a subject that Frank is interested in.
Well, Lib and I
Holy
have the exact
shit.
same egg fetish. It sounds like
That is
so.
true.
That's why another reason why you're straight.
I think he's here to rescue me. Actually. So
Frank is here to
might
rescue
wind
you.
this down. Yeah, we're supposed to go watch our show.
You don't care about eggs either. This is your own
I
stream.
don't
You don't
even
even
eat
care about
eggs.
the egg
I very
conversation.
rarely eat eggs.
Come on, you're French Cajun.
Eggs should be
Don't you have
poached.
runny eggs?
That's how
Don't you
real
make
men
your
eat
eggs
eggs.
runny?
If
Oh,
you're
no,
gonna
that's-
I didn't
scramble
even
them, then
eat
it
the-
needs
as a
to be
kid,
with
I
a
didn't even eat the
ridiculous
yolk.
amount of
I just ate
butter
the white part.
on low heat.
I didn't
And
like.
they
I
shouldn't
didn't
be
like
slimy, but overcooked eggs is
I do like a
ridiculous.
good egg sandwich though. Those were good.
Eggs Benedict is
Like a
good.
BLT?
Good runny eggs.
Okay, that's fair. Eggs Benedict is maybe the exception.
But you could put hollandaise sauce on a dick, and that probably wouldn't taste that bad.
It
Tell
would
me-
just
okay.
taste like hollandaise sauce.
Let me
Who do you
get a, let me
think-
get a poll.
Go ahead and clip it.
We'll go in just to see.
My husband is freaked out by the fact that I sometimes put ketchup on my scrambled eggs.
No, I was
Why?
hoping nobody
That
would
just-
bring up ketchup and
Leah,
eggs.
there's
Disgusting.
nothing freaky about
There's
that.
nothing
It
wrong.
means
That's
that you're white
perfectly
trash.
normal behavior.
My mom.
Well, he
used to
puts salt on fruit,
ketchup and
so
eggs.
we kind of
Gross.
yeah.
Both of
that's
those,
a battle going.
both of that is trailer park eating habits.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're
Oh, here's
trailer
here's
trash.
Emperor
We're
Dave.
proud
Dave,
trailer trash.
Yeah,
so.
I grew up trailer park eating.
Dave, come on
Like,
up here.
we live in an actual trailer,
And you
but
don't salt your
eat
fruit
Styles.
or ketchup your eggs. Leah, when's the last time you put ketchup on a steak?
I don't know.
No.
I mean, I put
Pineapple
barbecue
pizza
sauce on
is
the steak usually, but I also like
nasty.
honey mustard on my fries.
Gross.
Honey mustard's pretty good on anything.
And I dip my fries in my frosty for Wendy's. My brother got me into that. Yeah,
Dave,
yeah,
Dave,
yeah.
Dave, you lose a point. Okay, pineapple on pizza is not perfectly acceptable. You're down
It
to,
is
down to
perfectly
9.
It is
Pineapple on
delicious,
pizza
though.
is the only way to eat pizza. And you
English.
can't do
Oh,
it.
hey.
Now you're going into the
bacon,
shed.
pineapple, Canadian bacon, pineapple, and jalapenos. That is a pizza made in heaven.
Oh,
Dave,
that's
you're
probably
muted.
the only way
Dave,
I
you're
would ever
muted.
eat something spicy.
Pineapple on pizza is amazing. Hi, I'm Dave.
Hi, Dave.
All right, Leah.
Especially if you do it on a
Dave, who?
barbecue chicken pizza.
Wait, why did Dave get my spot and not Lib's spot?
Because I have a
want Lib's
camera
spot.
on, and you're a nerd.
Leah,
God damn
I
it.
know you don't have any points up on the board yet, like Dave, but you get -1 point. So the current score is Dave 9, Leah -1. So
Based.
Okay,
Give me
well, all
Lib's
right.
spot. Give me
Let me
Lib's spot.
see- let
Get
me
that
see if
Tommy
I can-
Jack down in the gulag. Put him
Misogyny.
back in the gulag.
unfortunate.
Put on his camera just so he could be on the top row. Nice.
Lib-
Flowstate. I like it. I approve. I approve
Thank
of this
you.
message.
Get back down in the gulag, slave.
If it wasn't copyright, we should just play Beck's loser.
Flo, how do you
Yeah.
feel
That would be
about
my
pineapple?
theme song.
Flo, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza?
I just said
I
ham
judge people
or
that
Canadian
like it.
bacon and pineapple and jalapenos.
All right.
That's the perfect pizza.
Uh,
With stuffed
point.
crust. If you can get stuffed crust in the equation, man, you're gonna have a good night.
I agree with
Okay,
that
you know
pizza
what?
being good, but the only one I would say is better is a barbecue chicken pizza with pineapple,
Yeah.
habanero, and
Yeah.
bacon.
Stop it.
There you
Pineapple
go.
barbecue sauce does not belong on pizza.
Barbecue sauce does so.
There's
belong
one
on pizzas.
there's one
It's
type of
amazing.
sauce that belongs on pizza. It's marinara.
it?
It's
Nope.
not Alfredo. It's not barbecue. It's not any chocolate sauce. Weird.
It's not marinara anyway.
Okay, but
It's
do you
not.
put
Did you know-
Parmesan
did
on
you
your
know in
pizza?
Australia
Do you put
they think-
Parmesan?
They think that marinara actually has to have like some kind of seafood in it in Australia.
Did someone tell
Freaking
Well, it is kind of
crazy.
a secret
Australia's
ingredient.
not even real. It's
Anchovies is a
theory.
secret
I found this
ingredient.
out because I was
Anchovies,
having an
yep.
argument with
Italian marinara.
Rude Mudcrab about marinara, and he just kept saying something about like I not liking fish or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but and
Anchovies.
I'm
Has
there-
anchovy
There does
paste
not
in it.
have to be. There doesn't have to be any kind of seafood. In
Yeah,
marinara.
in fact, there should
Well,
not
then,
be
like
any
chicken
seafood
and
in
They're
marinara.
the greatest things I've
Chicken
ever heard.
Parmesan.
What about mozzarella
Mar-
stick marinara?
Marinara and
Like-
pizza sauce are essentially the same thing. It's just tomatoes and
Kind of.
sugar.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Tomatoes and sugar. You don't need any anchovies or any octopus or
Well,
any
you need
weird.
you need
shit
some
in it.
kind of seasonings like a basil, oregano, shit like that, garlic. But that's being nitpicky.
Okay,
That
but really fast.
Sorry.
This is gonna get you. This is gonna depend on you getting another point. Dave and Leah, how do you feel about stuffed crust in pizza?
I actually am anti-stuffed crust.
Okay,
I'm all
that-
for stuff.
Man, this guy's a fascist.
okay. So Leah, you get a point, and Emperor Dave, you lose it. You lose another
That's
point.
fine.
I'm sorry.
I know it's
Down to
a bad take to most
It's
people.
got to
but
be thin and crispy.
I feel like having that cheese in the crust just takes away from the rest of the pizza. Just too much.
Why?
And depending on the crust,
That doesn't make
and the other
any
thing
sense.
is, depending on the crust, some crusts are just really good. And when you add cheese, it detracts from the crust itself.
How?
Okay, well,
You're
even
taking good
I
plus
made a-
good,
I even
plus,
said-
like
No.
double
Good
good.
plus
it's
good
better.
can
Why
equal
is, how is
bad.
there a downside?
Chocolate is amazing. Marinara is amazing. If you put chocolate and marinara together, probably not amazing.
that. You know what? That's
I don't
that's
know.
fair.
I mean, I've heard of worse. Not from me, but I
Orange
have heard
juice
of
is
weird
great.
things.
Toothpaste is great, but orange juice and toothpaste, not good.
Taste is not great.
Orange
Actually, you
juice
know
and
what? I'm
vodka
gonna go
is
test
always
this
a
out.
plus.
Grapefruit juice is better with
Definitely
vodka.
test that out. My headset is not.
I think vodka is really just one of those things that's good with anything because of the fact that it doesn't overpower the existing fruit flavor.
Quite the opposite. Vodka's not
you just
good with
made his stuffed
anything.
cheese
That's why
on
you
there.
need grapefruit juice because it's the only thing that powers
never
out
had
that rubbing
chocolate
alcohol
vodka?
flavor.
Have
I
you
actually
never
really
had a
like
chocolate
lemonade.
vodka
Ma'am,
shot?
I got alcohol
If-
poisoning
if
on
you
vodka when
get
I was
good
15. I've had all the vodkas more times than you have.
A good vodka
That just
doesn't
shows you're
have a
older than
taste.
me. You're old. You're gray. You're 1 foot in the grave.
I'm still
Damn,
younger
how old
than
are
We
you?
know this.
fruitcake
You're
right
old.
here.
The
And a
You
little
know how
hint,
old
you
Jeff
put-
is? Jeff is like 65 or something.
No.
You can put vodka in the freezer
I would
and it
guess
won't freeze.
Jeff is 42.
He'd
So
be
you're the
about
answer to life, the universe, and
12 years
everything.
old.
Okay. Well, I'm 40, so
Damn, that's old.
yeah.
Chuck.
You're all children. Leah, how old
I
are you?
am. I'm actually 41.
Me, I'm 33.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
okay.
Illuminati confirmed.
I'm 36.
It felt so grown up at the time.
I would have guessed
That's what it
younger,
was. It
Leah.
felt more grown up than this feels.
It's my voice.
I also at
Yeah.
30 I started getting less and less mature every year.
Same.
Same.
yeah.
Because after college, you sort of feel like, okay, I'm an adult now. I got to be a real adult, right? And you're
Yeah.
doing a real adult thing, and then next thing you know, you're in jail, and you're like, "Fuck, I wasn't a real adult at all. I was just faking."
Yeah, being truly mature is when you realize you don't know everything and you don't have to know everything, and it's
I'm
okay.
still working on that.
But having other people still believe that you somehow know everything.
Yeah, nobody knows everything, but the more people you can convince that you know everything,
Yeah,
the
that's
more
it.
adult you are.
That's a talent.
Really.
It's a talent that I possess at times, depending on the
think
crowd.
you just
It really
described
depends on the
maturity.
crowd.
Yeah. If it's like a bunch of like boomers, oh my god, boomers love me. Like old people, they love. They're like,
What do they love about
They
it?
really do? I have
Boomers
I have
don't
no
like.
idea.
I
have
don't
no
believe that. I find that really hard to
Boomers
believe.
do not like trans people.
With like a
Dave.
trans flag as your emblem.
What are you talking
Dave,
about?
I don't
My
think
mom's a
boomers
boomer
like.
What
and she
boomer
likes
likes a
trans
trans
people. My mom
communist?
would
That's
love
what I
you.
want to know.
Well, I
My mom
don't
would love
usually.
you.
They're all trans communists.
I don't usually lead off with hi, I'm
okay.
trans and a communist.
And that's like saying
Well,
hi.
I
I'm
always
vegan.
lead off with "Hi, I'm Dave."
He does. It's true.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
it.
good.
even
I-
except I sometimes also lead off with that just to mix up the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
People like to do that when I'm there. They'll try to beat me to it. They'll see me. They'll see me pop on the channel and they'll be like, "Hi, I'm Dave."
Guilty.
Because
I
it
made-
sounds
yeah.
autistic.
I made a Discord, and every single person that came into the Discord said, "Hi, I'm whatever their name is."
They should all said
It was
hi,
pretty
I'm
epic.
Dave.
It was pretty fun.
There was one.
I think
that
that
would've-
Frank
that was a
wants us
missed
to sing
opportunity.
happy birthday to him.
Happy
It's
birthday to
copyrighted.
you.
We'll have to
Happy
make
No, it's
birthday.
not.
No,
No, it's
don't
not.
Oh, hold on.
Happy
Glad-
birthday.
Happy
Frank.
Glad Inception Day to you.
9 months
No,
ago
it's
today,
so
Frank's
off key from
parents
everybody
both
that
nabbed him.
like the AI and
Inception
algorithms not
Day.
getting what's going on.
What's happening right now?
It's no longer copyrighted.
Porvu.
Yeah.
with a single candle.
9 months
Well,
ago,
it's not
on
copyrighted.
birthday, Frank's
Damn it,
parents
pardon me.
went, "Oh shit, did you pull out?"
Have a
True.
great day. We're glad you were born. Don't make a habit of it.
Are you sure? Yeah, don't make a habit of being born.
True.
I think I only do that
I
once
wish-
in my life, as far as I know. Well,
I
no,
wish
actually
I could-
twice if you're Christian.
Ah, yeah, you know. Huh?
Horse cock sandwiches sour mayo,
Oh, Bosch might
American
like those.
plastic cheese, crusty bread. This
Or I might
sounds
want
like
one.
just Frank's conception.
3 times if you're female and Christian, because you can become a
1
born
month
again
old
virgin
dollar
as
store
well.
cookies, Thursday prison lunch.
Okay, that was 2 whole seconds of silence. That's
There were 2 seconds of silence. Holy shit!
We can't let that happen because
it's running out of things to talk about.
Because Jeff is getting
Who's
squirrely.
running out of
You can
things to
see him
talk
start to
about?
move around.
I know, and his shirt's unbuttoned.
His
That
shirt's
was
been
Frank-
unbuttoned.
that was
Once
for
the
Frank.
yeah,
This
but
is
once
how-
the shirt
this
becomes
was a
unbuttoned,
birthday. This
it's
is
starting to be
Jeff.
a wrap up.
Jeff has been
We
waiting
need
for Jesse to show up and start a dance party since the minute he started to stream.
Nice.
We
That
need
is
to give
true.
Jeff
I
a
wish-
break and like go have a chaos stream somewhere
I want
else.
to do more
maybe.
dance parties.
Do
I'll
it.
probably be having my normal chaos stream later tonight, but it's too early for that.
Can we go dance on it?
If somebody wants to help me set up,
Your streams
like
are usually
figure out
late, so I
StreamYard,
always
I
miss
don't
them.
mind hosting
You
chaos.
can
Oh,
you
there's
can
something going on.
Leah, you wanna take over from here?
Don't worry, Flo. I will pop
a
up on your
stream on your
stream.
channel?
one-
EmpDave, you need to just embrace the streamer sleep schedule. I
I-
just woke up.
I have family, man.
So do I. They go to school during the day.
Not
I
yet
sleep.
for mine. So
Actually, track season just started, so they're all still doing that shit.
nice.
Oh, fun.
Extra time.
Track is inferior to cross country IMO.
No, disagree.
No.
Track has way more things.
I mean,
Cross
let's-
country's one single thing.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Both of them are not complete sports.
This
They're
is true.
part. They're
If in
part-
all honesty,
part.
cross country is just part of track.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know why it's a separate thing.
It's just track 2.0. It's like track and then a little bit double track distance,
Track.
like
Double
maximum.
track.
New and improved.
It's all the track races put into one. But you also have field with track, so track
No,
wins.
that is true.
Throwing's fun. I was a thrower, as you can
I
tell
just-
by my massive size because I'm huge.
You mean you weren't pole vaulting?
No, but I was running the 200 because I had to for football. They made us run the 200.
Yeah, no, that was I had to get started in cross country because our basketball coach said that we wouldn't get to play on varsity if we didn't run cross country in the fall.
I believe
So I did
it.
that. Turned out I liked cross country more than I liked basketball.
Yeah.
I quit cross
Nah,
country
I
after the
miss
first
football.
year because it was fucking miserable. The coach, I was really good at cross country too. The coach was so mad at me at my little brother's graduation 4 years after me when I said hi to him. He's like, his response was, "You never did anything I wanted you to do." I was like, I was like, but he's also in charge of newspaper staff. I was like, I was on newspaper staff for 3 years. He's like, whatever. He didn't give a fuck about that. He's like, you didn't run cross country.
Oh God, that
Come on,
reminds me.
tell the truth. It's because you didn't shower with him.
Oh.
It's because I had better things to do than feel like I was going to throw up every day after practice.
Mhm.
And that shit, and I liked rugby better, even though I was better at cross country.
Dude, I
Yeah.
wish I could have had a rugby team. Rugby looks like such a fun game.
It's a blast.
I want to have an adult. I want to join an adult rugby team. I want to find one.
Also,
Of like
it's
old
hard
people.
to. I had to choose between cigarettes and cross country.
Well, I quit
obviously.
smoking,
chose
so
cigarettes.
Yeah.
I used
Yeah.
to smoke when I was younger too. I quit.
I did too. My friends, I started smoking when I was 18 because I was like, I'm gonna be.
When you were
rebellious.
18,
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was a good
Good
kid.
lord.
Don't worry, Lib. I am the exact same. As soon
Yeah.
as I turned 18, I
18,
bought
I-
a pack
yeah,
of
same here.
cigarettes.
But
you
see-
losers.
Yes,
But see, here's the
Yes,
thing.
we
Then-
are.
Then my friends,
but I drank before that.
but then my friends were like, nah, don't smoking. Smoking is gross. You need to dip instead. So I started dipping.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you
And I
poor
got it.
guy. That's
yeah,
more,
no, it was-
way more disgusting.
It took.
It's
it
like
took
having
me,
diarrhea of the mouth.
took me
yeah.
like
Ugh.
8 years.
Literally.
Yeah, to get off of to get
Oh.
off that shit. It was.
Mine
this
took
is
me
really
2 weeks
funny.
in the hospital to
Snuff has
get
a
off
really
of smoking.
strong nicotine
Does
content.
everybody remember the first dip they ever took?
Yes.
Yes.
And-
Yes.
and
I
the
only
last-
I
So
only
what
ever
you mean
did
by
one.
dipping?
I only
Oh.
ever did one.
I did a few. They used to.
I
don't know if they
threw
still
up
do.
so bad. It was
They make cherry skull, and it
Ugh,
kind of
I
tastes
hate
like
cherries. I
candy.
hate Skull. Skull is not
I had
good.
the mint stuff. Mint
Yeah,
skull.
I-
It was also
oh.
skull.
I started with Grizzly.
You like a man. There's Kodiak was the bee's knees. That was the good stuff. But there's nothing worse than going for a pinch of dip and finding out it's fine cut.
Oh, fine cut's gross.
But you know what I did love? The beef jerky chew.
That shit's fire.
That shit is amazing.
No, I was.
I don't ever see it anywhere.
I started out with pouches.
Huh.
So it was slightly.
Oh,
less
the
gross.
pouches. Yeah, those are a little bit better, but it's still that same disgusting stuff draining into your throat.
Hey, it trained me for using
for what?
For what? For swallowing disgusting loads? I mean, of tobacco.
These nicotine pouches that I'm on now.
I'm gonna end soon.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All right, thanks.
Disgusting.
Jeff's trying to wrap up so hard right now.
It's Frank's birthday. I promise I'd spend some time with him.
You're good.
But Frank's got Cynthia.
Flo might be streaming later. Leah might stream. Talcott's probably gonna be streaming in about 7 minutes.
Oh, good. Can you drop Leah's
Yes,
link?
I sure can.
I have
Drop
not
it like it's
subbed up
hot.
to Leah yet.
She has a video she did a day or two ago.
Leah's an interesting person because she loves all the laws exactly as they are. There's
Hey,
none
me
to add,
too.
none
I'm
to
with you,
subtract.
Leah. Let's
Hey,
go.
3 of us.
Base bootlickers.
Four.
Let's go.
Four of them.
Strong sense of
Satan,
civic duty,
Satan,
and appreciation,
boomer.
respect for the
We-
greatest.
Boomer?
We just
Not
like the
you,
taste
not
of
you,
boots.
Liv. I
They're
was jumping
delicious.
over you.
Oh, okay,
Chuck
okay,
is a
thank you.
boomer.
Yeah.
These 3 are Satanists. Chuck is a boomer.
I am not a Satanist. I'm a Christian.
And
just said you
FlowState
believe it or
loves
not.
labels, apparently.
Yeah.
Do
You've
you
got
all
plenty
not
of them.
agree drug dealers ought to get life in
But I
prison?
think Satan
Come
gets a
on.
bad rap. Poor guy
I
needs
don't
to be
understand
forgiven.
how Chuck can be both my biggest supporter and the one person who would execute me.
Isn't that everybody who supports you, FlowState? It doesn't
think
common
about
thread.
it.
I allegedly kidnapped him, so
I believe that.
I don't hate FlowState. I'll support him.
I was just stopping by to look, and it looked like a fun
All Lib
stream,
has
so I
to
popped
do
up.
is
A lot of stumbling over the words.
Although last time Lib showed up, he didn't bring me as much revenue as the first time.
This is
The
true.
first time he was in on that commie trans shit, and people could not, my chat was coming undone.
How long do you think we can hold Jeff hostage before he actually just like is like, fuck you guys, I'm quitting?
I feel like we've already had him hostage for about an hour. He was trying to find. Yeah, it's how long ago was it that he thought that Busker was violating TOS when he clearly wasn't?
What?
He wasn't. I want to say he clearly wasn't. I didn't know how.
What was he doing? What did he do? What
Yeah,
did he
you're
do?
just trying to.
Told a
You're just trying to
prison
get out of
story
here
that
to
got very
watch.
graphic.
To watch just Frank's movie.
there was just a little
whatever.
uncertainty. That was all.
Has anybody ever heard a prison story that they actually believe is 100% true? That isn't slightly inflated?
I have.
Sure.
For the storytelling.
One of my best friends was a 2-time ex-convict.
All right, I gotta go. Bye, guys.
See you, Dave.
Oh, take care.
Hi,
So I
Dave.
believe
Hi,
in
Dave.
them.
That was abrupt.
Damn.
Like, anybody else?
Probably
Anything-
pizza's here.
I think Jeff's wanting to go, so I'll blow off.
Yeah, I think I'll head out too.
Yeah, Leah, if you stream later, I'll hop on. But
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll try to see if I can figure it out because, like I said, I've got a StreamYard account, but I'm on my phone.
You have the paid version or the
So-
free account?
I just have the free. I might put something up to where if people want to like pay for like my StreamYard account, but I don't want people to feel like they have to give me money because I don't make YouTube videos for money.
I do.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm trying to.
yeah, I'm not giving you money.
I like money.
What you got to do,
Oh.
Jeff, is you got to promote during the thing, right?
What do you mean? Like right now?
Like yeah,
But
like
these
how I
people
do
are
it.
already subscribed. Like
Like
it's
3
tell your
3 or 4
friends
times
what-
a stream. I'll make myself full stream and I'll go buy a membership, buy your friends a membership, make it rain in
Oh,
the chat.
but that's what I'm saying.
Well,
we're not
we all-
monetized
we-
yet.
Oh, you're not
We're
monetized?
trying to get to the point where we can do that.
I think
Well-
everybody knows by now that Flo is just in it for the money.
Flow's
I mean,
look,
really.
if Flow was just in it for the money, I promise you, I would not be doing YouTube. YouTube has been the worst return on investment I've ever done. I'd be outside picking up dog poop off Craigslist for money.
You ever think that
instead.
maybe just
It would pay
nobody
better.
wants to give you money?
People do give me money.
Yeah, but all in fairness, Chuck gave some money, like a lot, to just get people kicked off the panel.
I feel like you don't want to give money and you feel bad about it. That's why you're complaining about it. And you should feel bad.
I'm just joshing you at the end of the day. I don't really care either way. Like,
I'm gonna find a way to work you into my next promotion, Leah. I'm not sure how, but I'll find it.
Well, I'm sure you'll find a way to make fun of me, so I'll prepare for that.
I think Flo should get that bag.
Yeah, boy.
So should Jeff.
Girl, whatever.
So should Leah. So should Denizen. Y'all should get that bag.
Hell yeah!
I actually, and this is a topic I kind of broached for a minute on my channel because people, and I'm not. I mean, Leah, you volunteered. I wasn't trying to aim at you, but people do the thing where like, I'm not in it for the money. Like being in it to just gossip is any more virtuous than trying to be in it.
I'm only in it for the money.
Like, yeah.
What?
Whatever it is.
I think if you're honest, I think that's all that really matters at the end of the day. To
I
most
do
people.
promise people dick pics sometimes, and I never deliver.
Oh, you tease.
I know, but first I demand vagina pictures, and so that's how that works.
Yeah,
that's
no,
fair. See, fair trade.
Fair trade.
No, but see, it's not a fair trade because then I'm like, just kidding.
Unless you have a system where you have to send each other's at the same time, where like one won't send unless the other also sends.
Yeah, we put our crotch pictures into an escrow account.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But they don't want to see your dick pic anyway. They want to send you their pic, So really, they're still getting what they want out of the transaction.
I feel like Jeff is just polite enough that we can stay here the rest of the night if we play our cards right.
If she let him. Just saying.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Leah, say it again. I was busy watching Jeff look anxious.
I'm pretty sure there's at least one person in your chat who would definitely send pictures if you let her. Like volunteer.
Correct.
Just saying.
That's correct. I don't know if you were thinking about one particular person or if you were just stating that objectively. There are certainly more than one.
But yeah, we interrupted Jeff about to give Leah some advice, so let's let him give her some advice on how to set up StreamYard.
Oh yeah, I've got it set up, but how do I link?
You've used it before, right? Do you know how to set it up?
Yeah, I've set everything up, and I did like a test stream on it. But how do I pin the link to join the panel in the chat?
You have to pin it in
there's
YouTube.
a little at the bottom. It says invite. It's the little man with the plus sign, and it gives you the link.
But you have to pin it in YouTube, not in StreamYard.
But you have to pin it from YouTube, not StreamYard.
That's what I just said, Jeff.
Yeah, because I have because I've got the YouTube app, but the StreamYard in the browser, and so I'll just flip over to the app and put it in there. Then
okay,
that's kind of all I really care because I don't plan on really doing anything too complicated. I'm too lazy and too stupid probably to try to figure out.
StreamYard won't let me send the word goy.
Frank.
he did it through YouTube. Apparently YouTube allows the goy to acknowledge their status, but StreamYard doesn't.
Let me try.
I can tell you how to set up a stream if you want, Leah.
No, it did. It's saying YouTube, but
it says failed to post, right?
Mine says YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. Try changing it a bit. But we all know it's not because they think it's spam.
What does YouTube think goy means?
It's goyim. It's a anti-Semitic trope thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, it's actually a
Yiddish
everybody
word
else
for
trope.
non-Jewish. Yeah.
It's actually a slur for everybody who's not Semitic.
Yes, but the anti-Semitism part is that anti-Semites say that Jews call non-Jews goy. That's not
how inverted is this logic that you're present? That'd be like saying that the N-word is an anti-white trope.
It's basically it's disinformation.
It is used that way though, isn't it?
Or misinformation, but yeah disinformation.
Anytime anybody says the N-word, they're being racist against white people.
I'm coming.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, bye everyone. It was great seeing you. We'll be here
Bye.
tomorrow.
Thanks for having us on.
I'm gonna insist on being removed forcefully.
I can do that. That's how you want it. I can do it.
Hey, if you want to espouse authoritarian ideologies, then you better at least show that you put your behavior where your mouth is.
I do in the bedroom all the time. Like I'm part of that community. That is all.
I did not know, but I am not surprised. Somehow I expected it.
I've talked about it many times, but that's a whole different dynamic. But that's where the authoritarianism shows it. But it's a different.
All right, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave voluntarily.
It's not the cop kind, although it can be. He has to be forcefully removed. I did my best. Yeah.
You got him to forcefully remove himself. Bravo. That was.
Yeah.
That was good.
Force, baby. Denizen, good seeing you. Leah, you want to open one to people can drift over there from here?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to, and we'll see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, I'll just put something in my community tab.
If not, they can go to Talcott's or Flow might stream later. So if you're looking for the stream to continue, Leah's gonna just check her channel in a few minutes, and she might have a stream going.
All right. Yep. I'm gonna try
if not,
to. Thanks for having me on.
That the pictures with the hair, with the shorter hair, the videos look better, and to consider. Tell them from the gay. That's a gay opinion. Okay, take care, everybody, and we will, like Groundhog's Day, be doing the same thing tomorrow over and over as we go around the mountain of YouTube purgatory. We will see them. Hell.